All right. Oh, that could have been weird. Mike Testo. Mike Testo. Let's make sure we are alive and well for those who may or may not be here. Alright. We started already? We just went live, Shade. So we have not really started per se. We are here. Some of us are. That's live. Good. If you guys can hear me, and you guys could kind of hear some game music, I think we're in business. Don't have a knife to open this. Get to your PC, Shade. I have this business card. Do business cards serve as good knives? Guys, rule of thumb, cardboard is weaker than tape. Do I have any like things sharp and metal? Or I'll just rip a box. Don't mind me as I open this box while I wait for people to come in. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Welcome Casarola, King J, and Shade, of course. Here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when I live streamed this last week, Monday night? Oh, how we laughed and laughed. Except some of us weren't laughing. I think under the circumstances, we've done shockingly nice. Want some Monday live streams, maybe? That's what I'm counting on. I used to play a variety of games, but now it's only the Fruit of Grisaia that's on. So I took the liberty of King, and you did not finish that thought. So I don't know what you took the liberty of. Welcome, everyone's definitely. You know what is even worse? Literally a minute before I went live, I'm like, oh shoot, my OBS is set up for the wrong live stream. Which is luckily a few mouse clicks, but that would have been awkward going live on Twitch with nothing showing up. Oh, reading up on where the sex scenes are for the original Fruit of Grisaia Uncensored. Well, hopefully they just skip over it entirely. And some of the Amina ones pretty obvious, because even with the censoring, got some raunchy moments with her. But there's definitely been a few moments where it's like, well, that was a good sexery, whatever they said. In the Amina route, so. It's a weird thing. It's like a thing to hang it up. Alright, let's open this thing up. 6:59. I still have a little time. English. Battery? There's batteries for this? Oh. I didn't know that. But this is like a plug it in. And you do your thing. Yeah, it's just a plug and play. What the heck? Logitech, you lied to me. You lied. This peripheral is not for. It's not battery operated. And if anybody's wondering, this is not for anything in the near future. So don't worry about that. Oh, it comes with its own mount. Or it comes with the ability to mount it. Anyway, I'll put this down now. Now that I got it out of the box. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Monday Night Livestream hosted by yours truly, animefanrk2k, who is always here for the memes, the dreams, the Makina scenes of the Fruit of Grisaia, because that's the route we're on. We're on the Makina route. And I don't remember what happened last time. Okay, no, that's a lie. I know exactly what happened last time. But I feel like we are advancing the story. You know, we got past the festival, summer festival scenes, and something tells me that we are getting closer and closer to the ending. So I don't know. I'm gonna guess either tonight, if we get to the final ending choice, because that's a thing. Tonight, at like probably before the 2-hour mark, we'll probably continue straight through, and it'll be a longer live stream, and we're gonna see the ending. Otherwise, if you get to it after that, we'll do Makina's good and bad endings. But as we've seen multiple times in the past, usually how this works out is we get to that choice, we get the good ending, we do the bad ending the week after. So we'll probably be the same. But hey, you never know. Anyway, it was back in elementary school that I first realized I didn't hate running. This discovery wasn't prompted by anything special. I had no friends back then, so I'd often spend my afternoons hurling rocks into the nearby river, killing time until my mom got back from her job in the city. Alright, that's good. I hope everyone's ready for live streams, because it's already started now. Not the most stimulating activity, granted, but we had practically no money and I wasn't a very creative kid. Anyway, early one evening, I was alone at the riverbank. There I found myself playing my usual slightly better than nothing game, hurling flat stones along the surface of the water to see how many times they'd skip. That day I noticed a man running along the dirt path that followed the course of the river. Well, that's a slightly misleading way to put it. I actually noticed the guy a long time ago, since he ran that route along the river every single day. We never so much exchanged a word, but he'd always pass by at exactly the same time, even on rainy or blustery days. That was the extent of my connection with the guy. Sure, he wasn't any more interested in me. At most, he was probably vaguely aware of some weird kid who was always out in the grass throwing rocks into the river. That day, a bit of idle speculation ran through my head. That guy must be an athlete. For your best girl king, for Sachi? Yes. I'm guessing that we'll probably start the Sachi route next week. We'll see though. If it's not next week, the week after, so we're pretty close. I'm guessing though. I have no idea. Like, for all you know, the Makina route could be literally the second longest route. Second to Amane. But from what I've heard, the Yumiko route is the second longest route, so I'm gonna guess that the Makina route is not the longest. It is the second longest, because it goes Amane then Yumiko, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Shade. Otherwise, why would you make yourself miserable by running every single day? Maybe it was even a pro of some sort. When you're a pro athlete, keeping yourself in shape is probably just another part of the job. And why would you bother running if it wasn't your job? I sure couldn't see anything fun about it. Shit has not gone down yet. Really? It's been very, very normal. We found a little bit about Maki's history, and like I said, the summer festival just ended. But when I actually thought it was over, I realized I had never really gone on a long distance run on my own free will. I didn't really have any reason to, and I never felt particularly interested in trying. Wasn't it a little messed up to decide something I never even tried was horrible? Maybe there was something fun about it that I just wasn't aware of yet. It was basically just a whim, but it's not like the rock skipping was doing much for me. I started running after school, jogging along with my knapsack on my back. 3 kilos at first, then 5, and eventually 10. Eventually he ran more than Saitama did, and he became One Punch Yuuji. What? For a long, running all the way to my mom's workplace became my daily routine. At first, I wouldn't make it over there until after a shift finished, so I usually meet her halfway as she rode home on her bicycle. Things went on like that for maybe half a year, I guess. Little by little, the distance I covered before meeting my mom grew longer. Eventually, I managed to get to her workplace before she even left. She came out that first evening to find me waiting by her bicycle in the parking lot. Mom's eyes went wide with surprise. Praised me with words, "You really are a fast runner, Yuuji." She glanced down my beat-up old sneakers, and despite our extremely meager family finances, she bought me a new pair of running shoes. It The flushes had success, I realized I actually kind of enjoyed running. I learned that people can't really know something until they experience it. Now I understood. That man who was always passing me by must have had some big goal of his own. His running must have been his patient, steady way of approaching that objective. I didn't have any evidence, but it felt like the answer. If my sister was still alive, I could definitely beat her in a race now. That sort of childish self-esteem was probably something I needed badly back then. And how does this relate to the current one? Frozen turkey, hooray. You can never truly know something until you try it. That man by the river taught me that lesson, and in turn, I wanted to pass it on to Makina. I learned this thing from this random person I saw running, and I want you to learn this. And she'd be like, what? He's like, it's very important. Trust me. The ideal here would be something like, I don't know, teaching her the joy of music or something. If I had the talent, I'd gladly play an instrument or sing for her. But like I mentioned, I'm a little weak in the creative arena. And honestly speaking, I feel more comfortable starting off by introducing her to things that lie within the field of my expertise. And the field of my expertise happens to be running. What's the matter, maggot? Your movements are getting sloppier and sloppier. Makina's been tagging along on my daily running for several weeks now, and lately she started to participate in a little light exercise afterward as well. When I'm on my own, that usually just means conventional calisthenics and strength training. I came to realize that Makina's muscles are significantly underdeveloped for a girl her age. Thinking that lack of physical endurance might have something to do with her tendency to nod off in the middle of conversations, I started her on static isometrics. Then I worked up to a menu featuring more demanding dynamic exercise. I actually taught the girl some very simple self-defense principles a while ago, but I'm taking this opportunity to pass on some basic martial arts. Hey! Starting with the fundamentals, progressing to specialized techniques aimed at disarming an opponent with a knife and such, and finally more aggressive skills. Because guys, you know, basics involve disarming an opponent with a knife. You know, it's a common occurrence. I guess, in Yuuji's land, obviously, and I guess now in Makina's world, this may become to help her. I'm not quite sure what Yuuji's doing, guys. These came with the disclaimer, use these to create yourself an opportunity to run. First, I wasn't taking the martial arts elements particularly seriously. I looked at the lessons more or less as a substitute for playing around with her. Playing around, he says. Makina is going to go even further beyond, yes. Before I knew it, Makina was moving in ways that could sometimes startle even me. You really can't underestimate this one. Shout from the pit of your stomach. Forcing the air out of your lungs helps push your brain into a state of tension, increasing your reaction time and the burst of power from the power of your muscles. Makina is following the fundamentals just as I told her, and she's generally quick on the uptake. Her single largest problem continues to be a complete lack of endurance. Overall, the girl has come a long way in a short time. You're approaching inefficiency. You're approaching inefficiently. Keep your movements compact. Don't give your opponent a chance to counterattack. I mean, that's very important, guys. For precise, compact shots are like the principle of almost every martial arts. With another shout of determination, Makina ducks her head and leaps forward, spending all of her remaining stamina on one powerful tackle. Just as I braced myself to block, the girl seemed to disappear. It's a so-called slide dash of hers again. Where did she even pick this one up? Wherever it came from, she's good at it. The movement managed to surprise me, and that's no mean feat for an amateur. But that said, not good enough! The abrupt shift downward while maintaining her momentum was magnificent, up until the moment her arms wrapped around my knees. Makina gets perfect marks, but sadly her lower body's just too weak to bring me down. To the girl's credit, that doesn't keep her from trying. Her face bright red from exertion, she strains against my waist, raising a fierce battle cry. Seizing initiative doesn't mean you're won. Also, brute force isn't the only way to take down an opponent. Timing and balance are what really matters. Make use of everything you can. It's the only way you're ever going to bring your enemies down. Reach down, grab Makina's elbows, lightly push my thumbs down against her ulnar lips. As long as it sounds like you're yelling ninja, it's fine. Just, yeah, yell ninja at everything, right? If you have a problem, yell ninja at it, see what happens. The impact to her funny bones, sending jolts of numbness running through her both arms, Makina abruptly slackens her stubborn grip around my legs. Okay then, my turn now. Startled by the threat and our vulnerable position, Makina instinctively tries to put distance between us. A definite mistake. Anticipating her attempt to back away, I follow smoothly and give the girl a light push to the upper body using the force of her retreat against her. Very little effort on my part, she's completely destabilized. Sensing her imminent fall, Makina desperately braced her legs to resist the pull of gravity. Just as she struggles to right herself, I sharply yanked the girl toward me, again exploiting her own momentum. In one smooth movement, I've twisted her body around and wrenched up her arm behind her back. Just rip off Makina's arm. End of Makina route. Bad end. What? You understand now? If you're lacking in power, just use your opponents instead. The stronger they are, the better it works. Once you've mastered this, the title of champion is yours for the taking. I mean, real world's real world. You have to practice for now. You have to fight the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power. Anyway. I'm telling you, this isn't just theorizing. The words of the immortal Mr. Lee, don't think, feel, sense the flow of all that. If you guys don't know who Bruce Lee is, study up. Next week, I'm gonna write a report on it, okay? All of you. Kidding. Don't worry. I'm not gonna force anyone to write if they don't want to. Unless I was a teacher, then maybe I would. Listen, Makina. Thinking before you move slows you down. More often than not, things won't go the way you plan anyway. That's very true. Incidentally, do you understand how I was able to break your grapple so easily just now? Hit a nerve point, man. That's all it is. You weren't planning to loosen your grip, but you ended up letting go anyway. That's completely natural. When they touch a hot stove, almost anyone will jerk back their hand before they even process what's happening. It's an instantaneous reflex action. Even when you're actually trying to touch the stove, you'll instinctively withdraw your hand. The part of your brain that controls conscious thought isn't the same as the part that optimizes Twitch reactions. Do you have to subscribe for those Twitch reactions? Learn to exploit those involuntary reflexes, and you'll be able to control most people's actions without the need of overwhelming force. Very true. People flinch. You have to learn not to. Junior Science taught about this stuff? Yeah, I read that one too. The main feature of that issue was pretty interesting as well. Oh, that reminds me, speaking of preferences, you always use the same move when you're trying to land a tackle, you know that? Predictability makes it easier to deal with. Ideally, you should be mixing things up, not just sticking with the one style you like best. From now on, let's practice moves you're weaker at and add a little variation to your repertoire. I've heard about that. Human beings are creatures of infinite potential. Seems like there's still a great deal left to teach you. Well, learning the theory is important and all, but it's not much good without a foundation of basic physical fitness. That's what we really need to focus on right now. Makina has surprising agility and burst power. She can handle anaerobic exercise well, but endurance-based cardio seems to be a real issue. Despite her fundamentally weak muscles, the girl seems to have a strong heart that pumps a good deal of blood with every beat. As a result, her resting heartbeat's probably fairly low. Maybe those sudden bursts of sleep are the results of brief dips into outright bradycardia? If your circulatory system has something to do with that borderline narcolepsy of yours, developing your muscles might actually reduce the symptoms somewhat.
のストレス反応なんだって。まあぶっちゃけ原因不明の言い訳なんだけどな。
Yeah, that's probably true. In any case, 9 times out of 10, someone who's in poor shape can improve their condition dramatically just by exercising, eating right, and getting enough sleep. Back in my old school, there were great believers in intrinsic resilience of the human body. Yuuji as an edgelord? Probably not. I don't think he's edgy enough. And he's definitely not like, "Oh, my life is terrible" kind of thing. He's more like a "I'm a piece of shit" kind of thing. And that's probably just like a natural response if you're in that age group, unfortunately. Go run it off was the extent of the medical advice you could expect if you were stupid enough to tell an instructor you caught a cold.
でもあんまり食うとポンポコ状態が慢性化してショックなことになるのよ。
I don't think you have to worry about that. Traumatic? Traumatic. What's so bad about getting a little rounder? Kids are cuter when they have a little meat on their bones.
あのね、去年私が風邪ひいた時にね、あまねえに病院連れてってもらったのな。そしたらな、若いイケメン医師が私に言うのよさ。はい、それじゃお腹出してくれるかなってね。ほんでまあ、自慢のポンポコベリーを見せつけてやったら、
I wouldn't say he's bordering it. He's not edgelord.
あのイケメン医師、聴診器を手に持ったまま顔を横に向けて、失礼って吹き出して笑いやがったのよ。軽くムカついたんで、おめえ喧嘩売ってんのかよって文句言ったら、あまねえに後ろから頭こづかれて、思わずウップスって言ったら、今度は爆笑された。あいつもういいです。
I doubt a doctor who can't even discern the essence of your cuteness could possibly make an accurate diagnosis.
だろ？なあ、私もそう思うのよ。
You can always tell a real excellent doctor by their ability to admit what they don't understand, or so someone or other told me back in the day. That said, can't deny that excess flab mainly just gets in the way.
あまねえの胸のこと言ってんの？
Good example. I mean, a little extra fat at the chest and hips is a necessary evil for women. Those things are going to be a real nuisance when the girl goes golfing. Personally, as long as we don't get into the HWAC territory, I think rounding out a little more would only add to Makina's niche appeal. But come to think of it, I always did prefer the bumblebee-like curves of a J2M Radian to the pencil-thin C6N Scion. Well, guess that's not particularly relevant.
Huh?
Anyway, for the moment, let's try to avoid restricting your diet and focus on improving your body's basal metabolic rate. Whoops. I could say the words. I can say the words if I read correctly. Sometimes I'm doing that, guys. But no matter how much we speed up our metabolism, I doubt this shrimp's capable of burning 3,500 calories a day like a typical company employee. Guess I'll have to figure out a suitable training menu with Miss Sergeant Amane. Just as I'm stroking my chin with a thoughtful my ruminations are interrupted by the shrill squawking of Makina's digital pet. It's a daily occurrence at this point, but I can still feel my blood pressure rising. Can't say I've ever heard a raid siren this idiotic. It's just your usual 7:30 alarm. We'll conclude our training for you for today. Indeed, take a quick shower before you go to work, okay? Say what? That's so? Well, I guess a little R&R is necessary every once in a while. He's probably like, nope. I don't mind, but what sort of plane did you have in mind specifically? That's actually the most troublesome possible answer. Am I really?
今晩何食べたいってあまねえが言うと、いっつも興味なさそうに何でも構わんって言うじゃんね。
Damn, calling Yuuji out. Well, see. Looking at it from that angle, I feel that I've gained a little insight into the menu-related suffering Amane must endure on a daily basis. But still, really want me to decide? Girls at this age are difficult to figure out, especially for men like me. To be honest, I can't even begin to guess what sort of playing Makina would actually enjoy. 10-kilometer run. Oh, wait a second. That's an idea. It's about time I gave you that. Alright. You've been working hard lately, Makina. I'm impressed. In fact, I think a reward is warranted. Accordingly, I will now bestow you with a splendid present. It's like a uniform or something. That said, I'm not exactly confident this sort of present would particularly appeal to your average adolescent girl. Today is still my birthday. In game.
ねえ、ちょっと榊さん、ユージとマキナ見なかった？もうすぐお昼なのに2人ともいないのよ。
さあ、私は見かけなかったけれど、最後に2人を見たのはいつなの？
Probably in the morning, right?
朝ごはんを食べに戻ってきた時には2人ともいたんだけど、食べ終わったらまた2人してどこか行っちゃったのよね。どこ行ったんだろう。
Probably outside.
朝はいたのでしょ？ほんの数時間姿が見えないぐらいで大げさな。それに風見くんと一緒ならそれほど心配しなくてもいいのでは？
Also, why did you say Kazami-san when she clearly just said Kazami-kun?
まあそうなんだけどさ、なんか最近あの2人様子が変なのよね。
They're always strange.
変とは？もっと具体的に。
Yeah, that's what Sakage's probably thinking. Like, aren't they always strange? Aren't we all strange?
2人とも私に隠れてこそこそと何かをしてるっぽいんだけど、それが何なのか全然教えてくれないのよ。
あなた仲間外れにされているの？
そういう悲しいこと言わないでよ。ちょっと寂しいじゃない。
ああ。
イリスさんの動向が知りたいなら彼女の日記を読めばいいじゃない。学園長に提出する日記、今でも毎日書いているのでしょ？
読んだわよ。読んだけどさ。ねえ榊さん、あなたモギタンって知ってる？
モギタン？
モギタン？いいえ、聞いたこともないけれど、イリスさんの日記にはなんて？
トレイタン？ピタンタッチ。おい、文字ピタン。
なんかね、今日はパパと一緒にモギタンで遊んだ。楽しかったのよって書いてあった。
It's probably some like bastardization of a word.
モギタン。何やら言葉の響きだけで想像すると、子供向け番組か何かのキャラクターのようにも思えるけれど。
私もなんかそんなんだと思うんだけどね。
So confused.
マキナの日記にもなんかピンク色したアリクイだかカバだかよくわかんない動物っぽい絵が描いてあったし。
あまりおかしな風に考えない方がいいのではなくて、別に悪いことをしている様子もないのでしょ？
It's probably something like military related.
それはまあそうなんだけれど、私に内緒でってのが少し気になるのよね。なんか変なことしてたりしないかな。
I mean, it's just alone and sad.
変なことって？
いや、なんかこう硬い棒で濡れた穴をつつくような遊び。
What? Amane!
あなた何を言っているの？確かに風見くんの言動には異常な部分もあるけれど、彼は意外と誠実よ。もう少し彼を信用してあげても。って何？榊さん、何か思い当たることがあるの？
ダダダダン。い
え、全然関係ないのかもしれないけれど、風見くん、この前私のところへ来てパソコンを使ってネットで何かおもちゃを注文していたわよ。
おもちゃ？
抜け目なく履歴をクリアされちゃったから何を買ったのかまではわからないけれど、大手のホビーショップのサイトを見ていたからきっと何かおもちゃを買ったのね。
Oh, is it like a train or something?
そういえば昨日ユージのところに着払いで荷物が届いてたっけ？あの時の伝票まだゴミ箱の中にあったかな？
Look at these sly foxes. Go ahead. I'm gonna search his garbage. Cleared his browsing history, so can't use that as evidence. We're gonna find out what this is.
イリスさんが心配なのはわかるけれど、他人の個人的な趣味に介入するのはあまり感心しないよね。
だって気になるじゃない。
まあ気持ちはわかるけど。
well, I am there, whatever. Okay, I guess if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
お腹すいたのよさ。お昼ご飯まだ。
噂をすれば2人とも帰ってきたじゃない。あれこれ悩むより本人たちに直接聞いたの？
Well, go to the
教えてくれるかしら。
Yeah, you have to go directly to the source sometimes, someone.
そこまでは私も責任持てないわ。頑張って、スオさん。
Sekai's also probably like, tell me about it later, girl.
ハマネ、カレーの用意できてる？
Curry, man, I want curry. Amane will always think that.
はいはい、あんたの注文通りお昼はカレーにしたわよ。エビフライもちゃんと揚げたから美味しいぞ。いやー、ハマネ最高。マキナ、なんかあんた泥だらけ。っていうかあんた怪我してない？
What? She's bleeding.
お？ああ、まあな。パパに硬い棒でつっつかれたりしたしな。そらちょっと血ぐらい出るのよさ。
Oh, did you get her like a weapon or something to train with?
ユージ、ちょっとユージ。
Yes, no need to bellow, woman. People might get the idea you're prone to hysterical reaction.
ちょっとマキナ怪我してるじゃない。あんた何やってんのよ。
Yeah, she did get a few bumps and scrapes out there. Nothing a stiff upper lip can't fix.
治るわけないでしょ。何したのよ。
ハマネは大げさなのよさ。子供なんだからちょっとはしゃいで転べば怪我ぐらいするのよ。
あんた年齢的にはもう子供じゃないでしょうが。
Well, I'll admit that I could have been a little more careful. Try to think of injuries like this as within the normal range of variation.
あまり温室育ちにするのも確かに良くないけど、破傷風とか敗血症になったら大変でしょ。
And this is very important for Amane to be worried about. Hey, how's it going, Casarola? Because small injuries untreated can lead to devastating results. Like dead friends. What? Did have her wash them out with tap water. But you're right, disinfection's important too. Sorry about that. 66 years have passed since the end of the war, but its impact still lingers. It's said that those who lived through those painful years are often overprotective toward their grandchildren. Many older Japanese endured miserable food shortages in their childhood. Many watched wounded friends die for lack of basic treatment. Spurred by a fierce desire to protect their descendants from such misery, they sneak perfectly well-fed little boys and girls extra treats on top of their school lunches, ultimately leaving them plump and spoiled. Can't let him go hungry. Can't let some trivial scrape end up killing her. Sentiment's understandable, but the more you protect a human being, the weaker they become. As an ambitious commissioned officer observed after returning alive from the south, sometimes the bite of winter is pleasant in its own way. And by the same token, occasionally experiencing the harshness of the world can teach us compassion, help us find real strength.
ハマネ、おかわり。
いいけど、あんた最近よく食べるわね。なんかまた食欲中枢がおかしくなってるんじゃないでしょうね。
What is Makina, some kind of robot? The girl's been working part-time and training with me lately, so it makes sense she'd work up an appetite. Pushing her body spurs the appetite. At my previous school, even I used to supplement the 3 meals a day we got in the dorm using my own money. And among my classmates, there were guys who'd wolf down 3 huge Swiss rolls from the convenience store and call it a light snack.
はい、マキナ、おかわり。
Seriously, even the curry has pumpkin in it?
だから言ったでしょが、かぼちゃにはビタミンが豊富なのよ。炭水化物を効率的にエネルギーに変えるにはビタミン B1 が必須でしょ。
True enough. Your nutritional wisdom continues to impress me, Amane.
でしょ。私が食事管理しているおかげで最近のマキナ少し下っ腹が引っ込んだのよ。
Oh snap. Don't be ridiculous. That's clearly the result of the strength training we started recently.
筋トレ？運動嫌いのマキナが？
Devise a routine that isn't too onerous. She's mostly just repeating a few sets of static exercises that effectively work the muscles in a fairly short period of time.
なんだか知らないけど、私に隠れてこそこそと何やってんのかと思えば、そんなことしてたんだ。
Our main focus has been on strengthening the inner muscles, but we're gradually moving toward toughening the outer ones as well. That's probably why she's looking a little slimmer around the waist.
トレーニングはいいんだけどさ、なんか最近ユージと一緒に外で遊ぶようになってからマキナの生傷が絶えないのよね。あんたたち一体何して遊んでんのよ。
That's a good point. Kind of difficult to summarize, actually.
なんかね、木登りしたり、地面の上を這い回ったり、馬跳びみたいなことしたり、かくれんぼしたり、なんかぼうきで振り回してみたり、そんなことして遊んでいるのよ。
Basically like outdoor activities.
何それ、なんか男の子のやりそうな遊びばっかり。
That's probably all Yuuji knows.
楽しいぞ。僕もパパと遊んでもらう約束してんのよさ。アマネもやる？
いや、私はいいわよ。さすがにこの年になってクソ暑い中ドロンコ遊びする気にはならないわ。
Amane, you can't say that.
そうかい？そいつは残念な。
That
ごちそう
sucks.
さまでした。
え？ちょっとマキナ、あんたもう食べ終わったの？
I mean, you know, you spend most of that talking, so Makina probably ate before then.
美味しかった。さあパパ、遊び行こうぜ。
待ちなさいって。その前にお風呂入って着替えてから行きなさいよ。
どうせすぐ汚れるのに。
Makina, very important key point. Just because it's gonna get dirty again doesn't mean you don't change into fresh ones.
いいからお風呂に入りなさい。汗臭いとパパに嫌われるわよ。
ほんじゃパパ、一緒に入る？
パパは私と少しお話があります。あんたは一人で入ってきなさい。いい？
Oh man. Mom's angry, guys. What's all this then? She went out of her way to drive off Makina before starting the conversation. Which means, well, she's probably angry.
さて、ユージはん、ちょいとお時間よろしおすか
？What are you going back to your Kyoto accent? Why the Kyoto dialect, see?
どうでもよろし。ほな、そこにお座りやす。
I'm already sitting, actually. From the tone of her voice, I'm guessing she might be asking me to sit on my heels. As a precautionary measure, I straighten my posture.
で
Sorry, what's that supposed to mean? Can you at least tell me what we're talking about?
私に隠れて何をしているの？正直に話せば怒らないわよ。
I'm not particularly hiding anything from you. It's just the usual Army Rangers game.
本当に？なんか変な遊びしてたりしないでしょうね。
Amina's just hung up on sticks into wet holes. What's this funny game supposed to be? No need to worry, we haven't done anything dangerous like rappelling yet. Repelling yet.
まだって言った？
Look, I'm being very cautious about her safety.
まあね。あんたが来る前のマキナはお人形相手にずっと一人で遊んでるような子だったし。
That she also disappeared every once in a while to like sleep under a tree outside.
それに比べれば体を使って遊ぶのは悪いことじゃないと思うけど、怪我だけには気をつけてよ。
Yeah, understood.
それとあんた、マキナになんか変なおもちゃ買ってあげたでしょ。
What are you talking about? All of a sudden I become a very terrible liar. I'm just gonna back away from this conversation. Gotta leave. Gotta leave. Gone. Gone. Can't catch me. Can't catch me. Don't worry, guys. I'm still here.
しらばっくれてもネタは上がってんのよ。榊さんにパソコン借りてネット通販でなんか買ったでしょ。これを見なさい。
I'm gonna thrust out a small slip of paper in vaguely accusatory fashion. Sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, I recognize the receipt the delivery man left on my bubble wrap package the other day.
これ、そこのゴミ箱から出てきたんだけど、8万円も出して何買ったのよ。
Oh, that's like $750. So, right, the Makina could use a Amati violin, so...
嘘つきなさいよ。なんでバイオリンがあんな大きいケースに入ってるのよ。
Oh man. You saw the case?
見たけど、鍵がかかってて開かないのよ。あれって中身は何なの？
How can I explain this? Guess you could call it an educational toy Makina needs to develop her talents. Anyway, it's nothing too weird. No need to worry about it.
怪しいな。物は何なのよ。
Just tell her, man. You already caught. It's a gun. I was thinking to myself, maybe it's a BB gun or something. But I don't think you usually buy Makina a BB gun yet. But if you look at the price tag, it's a Dragon Dildo. No, Dragon Dildos are a lot cheaper than $750, sir. Get your facts straight and go on Amazon and look up prices. What? I mean, I don't know how much a Dragon Dildo is. What? Not going to tell you that. Inflammation? Of what?
教えられないようなものなの？
It's not anything I need to keep secret, and there aren't any legal issues either. I just don't think you'd understand right now. That's the only reason I'm not telling you. Till Makina's talent really flowers, to the point where I decide the girl should actually pursue this going forward, I'm not going to let you interfere. Even if you catch on, I'd appreciate if you pretended otherwise.
一つ聞くけど、危ないことじゃないのね。
Uh-oh. Makina is becoming a super soldier, guys. I'll guarantee that much.
じゃあいいわ。分かった。何も言わない。その代わり、怪我だけには気をつけてよ。
Understood.
あ、そうそう。それともう一つ聞きたいことが。
Sup? Which is?
これ見て。
What's this?
マキナの日記帳なんだけど、これにね、今日はパパと一緒にモギタンで遊んだって書いてあったんだけど、モギタンって何？
Easy bake oven? Maybe. It's, well, you know.
絵を見ると、なんかピンク色した謎の小動物が書いてあるんだけど、これがモギタン？
That's... Can't tell her... Oh! Training Tanto. So Makina's, I can't tell her trade Tanto is Makina's breach for Training Tanto. It's just not an option. Training Tanto, as you might guess, is just a mock short sword without an edge. Helps you practice one of the most indispensable jungle warfare skills without risk of disembowelment. I've been teaching Makina barehanded grappling techniques for a while now. Lately, she started to get a decent feel for the basics. Figuring it was time to add a little variety, I brought out the Training Tantos as an introduction to Jukendo, a required subject in my line of work.
それとさ、ここにやがて来るサバイバル、運命が崩壊し、国土の大半がジャングルと化した日本で生き残るのに必須なのが模擬タン訓練なのよ。
Yuuji's probably like, I'm proud, she got it right, but damn it.
書いてあるんだけど、どういう意味？
I wonder what Chizuru's thinking. She's probably like goes, oh, I know what this is. Cold sweat slowly trickled down from my armpits. Come on, Amane, you haven't heard of Mogitan from that kid show on satellite TV? He's ridiculously popular these days. Bought the crazy lolly a sword? Oh, he did for training purposes. By the way, if it sounds like I'm opening something, guys, don't worry about it. If it sounds like I'm going to be eating a box of cookies soon, also don't worry about it, okay? Might just be feeling a little bit peckish. And I might just be eating a box of cookies.
そうなの？聞いたことないけど、本当に？
Of course, you know. Hey ho, it's me, Mokitan. Listen up, boys and girls. When you're setting up your pitfall traps, don't forget to smear rotten shit on the tips of your bamboo spears. Ringing any bells now? Pretty famous line.
知らないわよ。っていうか、腐ったクソ?
She's gonna use that to stab Michiru, probably. Probably use it to train Michiru and Makina up. In other words, Mokitan's reminding the boys and girls in front of their TV sets that wars are won through a steady accumulation of minor harassments. The little guy knows his stuff.
何よそれ。紛争地の少年ゲリラ向けの子供番組?
Well, my attempt to avoid Amina's wrath through spontaneous babble seems to have backfired somewhat. You may have noticed by now, but I'm really not much of a liar. In any case, don't worry about Makina. I'll personally raise her into a splendid lady capable of returning alive from any hellhole we drop her into.
それを言うなら、どこへ出しても恥ずかしくない立派なレディーでしょ? 放り出してどうするのよ?
Well, anyway, that's how it is later.
こら、ユージ! 話はまだ終わってないわよ. まったくもう.
I think Amine probably kind of got what he was doing.
それにしても、何を買ったのかしら?
Oh man. I think it's funny that basically I'm gonna probably figure out everything but the item he actually bought. Because she probably doesn't know anything about Jukendo. Or knows very little about it. It's really funny. Honestly, it's not like we're doing anything to be ashamed of. Give enough patient explanation on my part, I'm sure I want to understand eventually. But where possible, it's best not to advertise this sort of skill. For one thing, the value of a trump card is inversely proportionate to the number of people who are aware of its existence. While a current pursuit may have gained tentative social sanction as a kind of sport, it's still strongly evocative of lethal weaponry. You have a serious image problem here to overcome. Some sort of like motorcycles in that respect. There's this nagging prejudice assumption that a young person who gets one of these is going to end up using it for evil purposes. For that exact reason, I think it's necessary to demonstrate that Makina understands the rules and can follow them responsibly. If the girl really knows what she's doing, we'll have a much easier time convincing Amine. See, Yuuji has planned this out. It's gonna make sure that Makina doesn't stab anyone, hopefully. Carefully cradling the long, heavy case we'll be using this afternoon. I'll wait for Makina to finish her bath. Gets slowly followed by Amine. Makina, a word. Seems Amine started to notice our secret games. From now on, let's play a little more stealthily. You're really clueless, aren't you? Listen up, Makina. Playing is inherently more fun when you're doing it behind mommy's back.
Oh,
I'm glad. Thank you for your honesty. Alright then, we'll begin where we left off this morning. I'll now present you with your rifle. Lowering the hefty beryllium case to the ground, begin rolling the dials on the combination lock. 9029. The lock clicks open as I slide the last digit into place. Couldn't forget this number even if I wanted to. 9029. Uh-oh. Swing open the lid of the case, revealing a bed of foam with a number of cutout spaces, keeping various components safely in place. The barrel, the action, the magazine. An olive drab stock, and last but not least, a telescopic sight that set me back a good bit more than the body of the rifle itself. Pulling these out of the case, I quickly snap the rifle together, leaving only the magazine unattached. Take the weapon carefully in both hands. I stand before Makina and read out the number etched on the right-hand side of the barrel. Oh. I don't think that's what he meant. Your rifle. Serial number 112035. Forcefully thrusts out the rifle toward Makina's chest, who sheathes it with a similar vigor, repeating the serial number. This little ritual helps grind it into the thick heads of new recruits that the rifle is an irreplaceable partner, while simultaneously encouraging a healthy sense of tension. Remember the dry firing practice we did this morning? Right, that one. Oh, yeah. I'm aware. Back in the old days, do that until my arms were about ready to fall off. Yeah, making Makina an excellent sniper and marksman. Got up to 2 separate pinballs eventually. It's another form of isometrics, you know? Need strong muscles or your barrel ends up shaking. It's not much of a factor with an air rifle like this. But when you're shooting with a real gun and live ammunition, the body tends to unconsciously brace itself against the noise and recoil, and end up pulling the trigger much harder than you intended, sometimes badly throwing off your aim. So it's even worse. You got Makina and air rifle, guys. The exercise in question is aimed specifically at preventing that problem. Alright, this time we'll start with plinking. You're free to fire at the paper target I've set up 25 meters ahead of our position. Start off by zeroing the rifle. In other words, fire test rounds and adjust your scope based on the impact. You did it this morning as well, remember? Once you detach the sight, it's always going to be a slight shift the next time you put it back on. Also, even changes in the temperature and atmospheric humidity can shift the point of impact by a few centimeters. When you have the chance, zeroing should always be your first order of business. He's raising an army of ladders, though he's raising the leader. He's raising the leader of them. Good. I'll now provision your ammo. For now, you'll be using 6mm .2 biodegradable pellets, 9 rounds in total. Use the first 3 to adjust your scope, next 3 to aim for the center, and the last 3 to confirm the shot. Also, you're going to be shooting with a bipod in a fully prone position. Not to worry, I brought him at this time. He's Big Boss if Big Boss was a lolicon. I unroll the foam mat I've been carrying behind the rifle case on the ground, then add a self-inflating air mattress on top, flipping open the intake valve. See? A bit more comfortable than the ground, and your clothes won't get dirty. Not sure if this is much of a bonus, but I also brought along some camo netting I ordered online. With all this, we could pull off a full-scale ambush if we wanted to. It's a replica made for outdoor sports, but this one's pretty damn well made. You can drape it over your head, wrap it around the rifle, or both. Truly helpful purchase. Couldn't help buying one for myself while I was at it. High tension, good, but don't pump the blood too far. Camouflage is extremely useful stuff. You use local vegetation to obscure the outline of your body. Even pros will have a hard time spotting you. Whoa, that cookie almost went down the wrong hole. Trick is be careful when you're knotting the leaves together. Make sure none of them get flipped around, and don't use so much that it seems unnatural. Huh? You really do love this stuff, don't you? Surprisingly enough, Makina has displayed a fierce interest in rifles. Probably developed an interest through bits of trivia she picked up from those video games of hers. According to the testimony of Kominasachi, her primary playmate, Maki-chan absolutely adores those bang shoot them up FPS games. She always shrieks, "Die! Die!" and cackles with joy as she plays. Distressed by this apparent manifestation of the virtual generation's much discussed tendency to trivialize the taking of human life, I pondered the situation at some length. Ultimately deciding that rather than ducking the issue entirely, my duty was to teach the girl just how serious pulling a trigger really is. Having reached that conclusion, I went all out and ordered her a realistic air rifle. Just as with the bicycle, my broader goal is to raise her into a responsible person. One who treats any tool possessing the ability to cause harm with the wary respect it deserves.
Papa.
What's up?
Yui.
Oh my god. This is such a great, oh my god, that's a really good looking air rifle too. What? Yo, that's a really great scene. Yep, guys, that's what your killer is gonna look like. How do you feel? Tough it out. 80% of a sniper's job is enduring discomfort. Let's begin with one shot that at that paper target. Stand by. Oh, I like how we get this too. After exhaling 8/10 of the air in her lungs, Makina stops breathing altogether, holding her aim steady. I let 4 seconds tick by, then quietly issue the order she's waiting for. Fire. As soon as the words leave my mouth, there's a soft sound of an ideally muffled shot. And a round white pellet 6 millimeters in diameter flashes past my spotter scope. Only take one. It's only one shot, yeah. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Maybe a second or two after Makina's pulled the trigger, the BB impacts on the edge of the paper target. Correction. Up 1 click, left 2 clicks.
Up 1, left 2, clear.
That seems a lot more than that. Second shot, prepare to fire. Fire! The pellet launched into a powerful backspin by the rifle's hop-up system, traces a lazy parabola through the air and strikes the target. Another miss. The wind's stronger than I thought. Let's try changing ammunition. The .25 pellets will probably do better. Move your magazine, pull back the bolt, and stick your finger into the chamber to make sure it's empty. Then visual confirmation is fine. Peer into the bore from the side of the port. See light, we're fine. I swear to God, if Amane makes spaghetti in the route, we will have all the M&M memes. Yo, that'd be the greatest. Alright then, we're switching to .25 gram biodegradable pellets. Install magazine. Oh, she's already getting... I like how, like, serious they look about it. Like, Send the first round into the chamber. This time we're going to change our target based on the direction of the wind. Look to the right and up slightly on that bench. The target is a cup filled with clear blue water. If you make the shot, it'll start squirting out all over the place. Good stuff, right? Bet Makina's palms are sweaty? She didn't say it was warm. Yo, a knee's weak, arms heavy. Because she has that sniper. Prepare to fire. Fire. The BB hops out of the barrel like a stung cat, slapping cleanly into the paper cup 25 meters away. Hit. Well done. Fire 3 more as you are to confirm the shot. What's wrong? Oh! Say what? Quickly swing my spotter scope to the right. Sure enough, Sakaki Yumiko is standing a few meters away from the bench with the paperback clutched tightly to her chest, staring at the paper cut with a terrified expression. Sakaki, huh? Damn! She's like, what the heck? Who's firing? Wait, what? Why was there a paper cup with water in it? Makina, we're suspending practice for the moment. Safety on. After confirming that Makina is engaged in safety properly, double check to make sure the bolt handle and trigger are firmly locked. Then pick up the transistor megaphone lying at my side, bring it to my mouth and hold down the switch. Hey Sakaki! What the hell are you doing out there, woman? Don't shoot! No killing waifus, guys! Shot her book? No. Christ. Well, from Sakaki's perspective, she was just innocently trying to read a book in the shade when a nearby cup abruptly sprung a leak. And just as she was cringing in surprise at the mysterious phenomenon, a disembodied voice started bellowing angrily at her from the bushes. I suppose bursting into tears wouldn't be that unreasonable a reaction. No, I'm going to go talk to Sakaki for a minute, alright? You're on standby here. Absolutely no firing until I give it the go-ahead. You got that? Lifting myself up off the air mattress, I fling off my camouflage net, push out of the bushes, and approach our stupefied interloper with a slow but powerful gait. Hey there, Sakaki! Tell me, what is your major malfunction? Did you miss the red flags? Please explain why you wander onto the range in the middle of a shooting session. Right now, I'm leaning toward you being an idiot. Buffeted by my best veteran drill sergeant roar, Sakaki flinches, stiffening into a defensive posture. Are you blind, woman? Jab out an index finger toward the gatepost that marked the entrance to the courtyard, where 2 conspicuous red flags are gently flapping in the afternoon breeze. The red flags are up. It means you keep out, even outside the perimeter. Some actions that might lead to an accident are forbidden. So how clueless are you? Like I said, shooting practice. Do your ears not working either? She's like, what? She's like, anger goes to intrigue, going, wait. Before I can respond, Makina's voice rings out through my earphone. The samurai's right arm. Glance at the paperback in Sakaki's hands. Does in fact bear that title. Look over my shoulder toward Makina's position. The distance between us seems to be a good 30 meters. She seriously read these tiny letters from over there? Scope's good, but it's not that good. Incidentally, Sakaki, Makina wants to know if you'll lend her that book when you're finished reading it. Yeah, she's in the bushes over there. Can you see her? Can't make her out, huh? Guess that's hardly surprising. I know exactly where the girl is, but it's still a struggle to pick her out. Very solid bit of camouflage work, if I do say so myself. Of course I went to her first. Plan to apply for the establishment of an official club eventually. An air rifle club. You seem a little nonplussed, my friend. In that case, let me provide you with a first-hand demonstration. Let's drop back a bit, alright? I want 20 meters minimum between you and that target. Won't take long, come on. After confirming that Sakaki's withdrawn behind me, I thumbed the 2-way radio PTT switch on my waist. Makina, release the safety. You have permission to fire. No! No! I'll designate your target. Aim for the first cup from the left, alright? I'll issue your timing from here. That permission to fire human time? No! No, Makina. Okay, Sakaki, watch the cup 20 meters ahead of us. Pass Sakaki a pair of binoculars, pointing out the cup in question. Once again, hold down the PTT button for my wireless. Ready and fire! Maybe 2 seconds after my order, low-pitched report rings out nearby. A second later, the pellet strikes home, dead center on the leftmost cup. Hit! Well done, Makina! That's right. Pretty decent skills, don't you think? What? We're practical on top of her and you still haven't noticed? Alright, Makina, that's enough for now. Remove the magazine, confirm the chamber's empty, gauge the safety, and take off your camouflage. A few seconds after the end of the transmission, Sakaki looks around the area nervously. A clump of bushes 2 or 3 meters behind us rustle noisily. Makina slowly gets to her feet, still cloaked in her ghillie suit. Calm yourself, Sakaki. Makina, lose the camo and get the paint off. Girl throws off her camouflage net, then retrieves a wet wipe from the pouch around her waist, begins to vigorously scrub at her face. She was right there the entire time. Vita. Everyone will like Yuuji. Actually, well, to be fair, Yumiko used her box cutter, like, I don't want to say, like, with reason, because you shouldn't be cutting people or trying to threaten them, but at the same time, she does use it with reason.
ちろん驚いたけれど。なるほど、先日私のパソコンを使って買ったのはこれなのね。
Oh, Sakaki no knows. Well, yeah.
最近のおもちゃってすごいのね。こんな距離であんなに小さな的に当てるなんて。
I won't deny that the gun performs well. That was a 25-meter outdoor shot, you know? If I'm going to praise anything, it should be Makina's skills.
そうだぞ。私は褒めると伸びる子だって地図も言ってたぞ。
と言われても、私にはどれほどのことなのか今一つピンとこないのだけれど。
Are they gonna have like Sakaki like laying down and trying to make the shot? In that case, want to give it a shot yourself?
そうだ。ユミちゃんも自分でやってみりゃどんだけ難しいかわかるのよ。
誘っていただけるのも嬉しいけれど、私は泥まみれになるのがごめんだわ。どちらかといえば椅子に座って紅茶でも飲みながらチェスでも指す方が好きかしら。
Hell yeah, chess is great.
相変わらずのインドア派なのにね。そんなこと言ってからドジミだって言われんのよ。
What?
イリスさん、その私のことをドジミだと言っているのって
Oh
ど
no!
なたなのかしら。
Oh no! Is it Yuuji?
強いて言うなら主に私。
Oh no! Makina's dead.
あら、そうなの。やだわ、こんなに力強く自白する犯人なんて私初めて見たかしら。
And here comes Box Cutter, right? Nope.
もう言わない。
What? Yeah, picked a fight with the wrong person there, Makina. Calm down, Sakaki. The girl's demonstrating remorse. Why not show a little pity?
まったく、あなたがこの学園に来たからというもの、ますますイリスさんの口が悪くなってきているような気がするのだけれど。
What? Is this my fault? Well, I mean, I guess you might have some point, but...
おいってまたここの女加減ってものを知らねえ。これだから一人っ子はよ。
Oh, snap them. Well, that sounds like rubber.
イリスさん、
はい、すいません。また勘違いしてました。マキナは悪い子でした。
まあいいわ。風見くんもあまりイリスさんに変な悪影響を与えないように気をつけなさい。
I'm trying, you know? I do scold her every once in a while, but...
だからまず叱る人間であるあなたが生活態度を改めなさいとそう言っているつもりなのだけれど。
All the characters are coded classes. It's because all the characters are 2D. In other words, I lead by example, not just instruction. Impressive insight, Sakaki.
分かっているのならなおのことよ。自制なさい。
あれなんだよ、ユミちゃん。行っちゃうの？一緒に遊ぼうぜ。
結構よ。お二人でどうぞ。
Sakaki, you have a second before you go?
何？
Come on, no need for the full power scowl. Just wanted to ask if you keep it quiet to the others about this.
それは構わないけれど、理由ぐらい教えてもらえるんでしょうね。
Until we get this officially sanctioned as a safe extracurricular sport, I don't want to deal with people's prejudices, misconceptions. That's the only reason.
スオさんはすでに何か嗅ぎつけているわよ。
Oh snap! Oh no, everything's plastic. That's quite the conspiracy theory. It's like an overall visual novel conspiracy theory actually. I'm aware, that's why I'm going to turn a blind eye for now.
あのね、考えてもごらんなさい。スオさんが知っているのなら他に誰に隠すというの？学園長も了承済みなのでしょ？となればあとは松島さんと小峰さんよ。 あの二人に知られたところで何を困ることがあるというの
？Michiru comes, like, brazenly walks in mid-shot, gets hit in the forehead. She goes, "Attack!"
おう、言われてみりゃそうなのよさ。
Right. Even if we told Michiru, she'd probably fire back. Okay, so what? Do whatever you want. I mean, it's not like I'm interested in the slightest, so you cannot waste my time telling me. Alright, just die already, won't you? Why don't you? Something along those lines, building up such a head of steam, the whole Tsundere train ends up flying off the rails in a burst of verbal violence. And that's for Sachi. We probably get shooting. Somehow the world has a rather lewd resonance. Does it not? Just what do you plan on shooting into what? Goodness, my loins are all aflutter. What kind of image does he have from all these girls? Or something along those lines, leaving all within earshot, reflexively pressing palm to forehead and groaning in anguish. Okay, is there not a single halfway normal person in this damn place?
それは自分も含めての発言でしょうね。
つうか、今さら何言ってんの？
Maga's like, yeah. Fair enough. This place really is a den of eccentrics, isn't it? No wonder I fit in.
秘密にしておくと危険じゃないかしら。赤旗だったの？あれが掲げられているときは立ち入り禁止と全員に徹底しておかないと。
Unintentional loot Sachi? No, that's full out normal Sachi. What are you talking about?
安全のためのルールを知らないなんて、それこそ意味のないものでしょ。
What's this? A sensible argument?
こういうことを言ってると、なんかまともな人に見えるから不思議なのよさ。
Oh, someone's getting a face stretching again.
は、仕方ですか。ですよね。はい、マキナ黙ってます。
とにかく何をやっているのかは秘密にするとしても、赤旗のルールは徹底しておきなさい。私からは以上ね。
I can't deny that it seems we were a little sloppy in our safety procedures. Guess there's nothing for it. Time to break out the ultimate weapon.
最終兵器？何それ？ミサイル？
No, try again.
じゃあ、限りなくミサイルに近い何か別のもの？
What? Why are you so caught up on the missile thing? When it comes to ultimate weapons, nothing's more ultimate than the mouth gun.
何それ？
Treating an empty gun as though it were loaded with live ammo, lining up your shots as normal, then yelling bang bang instead of firing.
はあ、つまり状況の人になれってやつな。
That's right, and when you're not actually firing rounds, anything becomes a legitimate target. Image training's pretty good stuff, you know? You can climb up onto the roof of the Eastern School building and aim at the principal's office.
ああ、地図を狙撃するのか。ちょっと楽しそうなのよさ。
Poor Chizuru, now it's just a target for sniping. Hell, since we're not actually firing, you can go for an even longer distance shot. Like, let's see, sniping the principal's office from that last high spot on the beach, maybe? Nah, I guess that might be pushing it. When you get over 1,200 meters, 7.62 millimeters isn't really going to cut it.
じゃあさ、とりあえずあれ撃つ練習してみるってのは？
What thing? Makina's stubby finger indicates a twin-tailed bottle blonde apparently strolling back from the convenience store, obliviously sucking away at a half-unwrapped ice cream bar. Not a bad idea. Alright, Makina. Camo on, then get in position to fire. Well, they're shooting Michiru after all. Poor Michiru. Distance to target, 70 meters. Wind from right to left, up 3, right 2. Target movement speed estimated 4 kilometers per hour. Just your windage 2 millimeters further to the right. Gotta be Captain. Don't aim for the head. Smack it right into that meager little chest. Got that? No! Fire! Having successfully eliminated the menace of a pseudo-Tsundere invasion, proceed to mess around blowing imaginary holes in various targets through precision mouth gun sniping.
Makina, あんた晩ご飯食べ終わったんならさっさとお風呂入っちゃいな。私も後からすぐに行くから先に行ってなさいな。
日焼けした。顔面と肩がめっさ痛いのよさ。
ああ。
日焼け止めもしないで一日中外で遊んでるからでしょうが。
と だって日焼け止めしても汗ですぐ流れちゃうんだものよ。
What's up?
楽しかった？
ああ、ゴッサ楽しかった。
Wicked sick uber fun.
ゴッサか。そりゃかなり楽しかったみたいね。何して遊んだの？
うわっぶね、誘導尋問に引っかかるところだったのよさ。
What?
イリスマキナ美浜学園所属学籍番号4番1月13日生まれ。
What?
何？どうしたの急に？
敵の捕虜になったら名前と認識番号と生まれた日しか教えちゃいけないんだってパパが言ってた。
捕虜ってね、別に拷問してまで聞き出そうとは思ってないわよ。いいからお風呂入ってきなさい。
Remember, guys, that's a very important thing to remember. If you're ever caught by an enemy interrogator, name, number, or date of birth. That's it.
了解。
まったく。
The specifics are personal reward, but whatever.
いけねえ。アヒル持ってくの忘れるとこだったのよさ。
Mr. Duck!
ああ、もうアヒルはいいけど他にはおもちゃを持ってっちゃダメよ。
ういーす。
まったく元気なのはいいんだけどさ。さてと、それじゃあ早速マキナの日記でもっと。あれ？あの子、日記帳どこにしまったのよ。さっき書いてたんだからそんなに奥にはしまい込んでないわよね。
Oh man, Amane.
ただもうまたこんなところに脱ぎ散らかした靴下しまい込んで、一度履いたらちゃんと洗濯に出せっての。もうつーか日記帳はどこよもう。あったあった、これこれ。
Damn, couldn't hide it from her too long.
なになに？おもちゃの日記はあったあった。どれどれ？
It's gonna say something about shooting Michiru, and she's gonna go, What the hell?
今日はパパと一緒にプリンキングごっこをして遊んだ。ゲロッサ楽しかった。
What? Gerosa?
ゲロッサ？まあきっとメッサの最上級のことなんだろうけど、それより何これ？これがプリンキング？わしがプリンの王様、プリンキングじゃーって。
Alright, guys, there it is. The king.
もう何よこれ。モギタンの次はプリンキングっていうか、なんだかもうほんと全然意味がわかんない。あの子は一体ユージと一緒に何してんだろう。
I'm glad Makina's thought process is Makina's thought process is basically that Traiton and Purin King were the best of friends. They spent many carefree days playing together in a deep, dark forest, where to be haunted by goblins. One day, Tuna Fishman abruptly appeared before them while vigorously disemboweling himself with a gleaming knife. He spoke thus. Toro! Seemed Amane was tormented by this remarkable, surreal dream, ultimately leaping to her feet and yelling, What the hell now? To no one in particular. Sad tale, although I failed to see why she complained to me the next morning. Elderly people are fond of the phrase, experience as much as you can while you're young, but it's apparently somewhat rare for youngsters to generally understand those words. I'm something of a special case. I've seen much more than most people my age. Hell, I think I'm on the world-weary side of things, but even so, sometimes a small discovery or brief comment will completely overturn what I thought I knew. Experience is the most valuable form of knowledge, the survivor's greatest prize. Purely experiencing something until you know it inside and out is worthwhile, so is seeking out new experiences and widening your horizons. And this time, Makina opted for the latter. I don't think it's anything more complicated than that.
ねえマキナ、本当に行かないの？
今年はパパと一緒に過ごすのよさ。
Oh snap. Just this morning, Makina declared that she would be spending her summer vacation in the dorm, rather than accompanying Amane to Kyoto for the second time. Apparently, this last-moment change of plans was announced just as Amane was preparing breakfast today. It came as such a shock that the girl dropped her kitchen knife to the floor dramatically.
何度も聞くようだけど、なんで？こんなのと一緒にいたって楽しくないでしょ？
This thing? Can you not call me a thing to my face? At the very least, try not to point from her emphasis. You managed to bruise my feelings a bit.
まあパパと一緒にいたいってのが一番の理由なんだけど、他にもアルバイトとかあるし、リンゴの苗の水やりとかザリガニの世話とかもあるしな。京都は去年経験したので、今年はパパと初めての夏を過ごします。
Wow, that's actually very fair.
大丈夫なのかな？あんたご飯とかどうするの？
大丈夫。パン焼きマッシーンもあるし、パン食べ放題なのよ。
Man, Amane's gonna have a stroke if all we eat is bread.
パンだけじゃダメでしょ？ちゃんと栄養も考えないと。何か日持ちするおかずでも作ってから行こうかしら。
Wow, Amane's already like planning. You'll be fine. I'm going to take care of the cooking.
つうか、あんた料理できんの？なんか豆ばっかり食ってるイメージが。
Not to worry, I'll get some pumpkins in there as well. Human being won't die as long as they've got beans and pumpkins to eat. Man, Amane sold those pumpkins to Yuuji so hardcore.
あとパンもな。あ、かぼちゃパンでも焼いてみる？やべ、うまそうじゃね？
Actually, pumpkin bread's very popular here.
なんか心配。マキナが行かないなら、私も行くのやめようかな。
My mom's worried.
心配すんなって。割と何でも器用にやってみせるから大丈夫なのよさ。行ってくるがいい。そしてお土産は生じゃないやつし買ってきて。お抹茶味のやつ。
Already asking for souvenirs.
あんた本当に硬いもの好きよね。
I'm a traditionalist myself. Give me some of the default cinnamon flavored ones.
わかったわよ。ちゃんとお土産買ってくるから、マキナはちゃんと宿題やるのよ。ユージはちゃんとマキナに宿題やらせるのよ。
Yes.
わかってんのかな？私がいなくなっても遊んでばっかりいちゃダメなんだからね。
It's just non-stop training. Like Amane comes back and it's not Makina anymore. It's like the Buffsuki equivalent. It's like, hello Amane. I trained very hard this last week. It's like, that's actually impossible. What the hell happened?
いなくなるって言っちゃやだよ。あまね、ちゃんと帰ってくるのよ。帰ってこなかったら、あまねがどこへ行っても必ず探し出して迎えに行くからね。
Aww.
ストーカーみたいなこと言わないの。ちゃんと帰ってくるからね。
I wasn't sure if that was I wasn't sure if that was meant to be like sweet or what. Throw in the hyperbolic time chamber. No need to drag out the farewells then. The Yokohama Shinkansen leaves at 8:50, right? You're going to miss the train unless you get a move on.
じゃあ行ってくるね。
Very well, Makina. We'll now send off Amane on her journey to the capital with 3 hearty cheers.
そうよ。そう、あまねくんの出発を祝して万歳万歳万歳。
Alright everyone, 3 cheers. Banzai! Banzai! Banzai!
やめてよ、恥ずかしいじゃない。
I didn't think so. And so Amane finally turns and runs up the stairs towards the station's ticket gate, fleeing our largely meaningless farewell salute. While I certainly appreciate the value of Amane's contribution to our well-being, I assumed her temporary absence wouldn't have any particularly serious effects on our lives. To be honest, that casual attitude was partly the product of stubborn pride. Got along just fine by myself before, didn't I? Once the woman was actually gone, Didn't take 30 minutes for the first problems to begin surfacing. I knew it. Knew it! Hey Makina, how old are the eggs in this fridge? That is a very fair point. I'd hope not. I see. Where was it again? I remember buying her some, so we should have plenty in stock. Like where? I don't see anywhere to hoard things in this room. Amane warehouse? What? Amane warehouse? So it's like the... It's like this is where we hide everything. That seems fair. Whoa. Sounds like a pretty decent little emergency stockpile. That's fair. Makina promptly sticks her head into the fridge and starts rooting around in search of something. Uh-oh, I hope she didn't unorganize it because that'd be bad. What's that supposed to be? The semi-transparent Tupperware container in Makina's hand is stuffed to the brim with a yellowish powdery substance. Seriously? Who bothers to save that stuff? Oh snap, she knows! I see. My apologies. What are you planning to use it for? Holy crap. I see. Talking about Yatsuhashi gets you in the mood for something with cinnamon? Hold on, Makina. Take a look at the clock. Mayhaps yourself. Look at the other wall. Wrong. Point to a large piece of paper hanging on the wall. The words summer vacation schedule scrawled across the top of Makina's handwriting. Wow. Playing dumb isn't much good when you're the one who wrote the damn thing. 9 in the morning is homework time, right? I bet you just probably like, actually the school gave all of us homework, Makina, stop lying. True enough, and Aladdin's not around, so I guess it's all good. Were you seriously expecting me to say that? Idiot! If you're thinking I'm going to be a soft touch compared to Amane, you've got another thing coming. Decide the schedule yourself, so I want to see you at least pretending to follow it. Not like you'll learn anything if I force you to study when you don't want to. But at the very least, make yourself sit in front of your desk at a set time every day and pretend to study. Once that becomes a habit, your brain will start waking up all on its own when the time comes. You'll be able to focus intently and get a great deal done in a short time. There's no point in trudging along through your textbooks for hours on end. 1 hour is just about right for a study session. Give it a try, and you'll see. Set aside a specific time every day for focused, undistracted study. I learned that simple technique from my big sister. Apart from her school subjects, she could consistently produce outstanding results in virtually anything with nothing more than an hour or so of daily review. And once I adopted her study method, I managed to maintain a fairly respectable academic standing in my own right. When you get used to studying in brief chunks, you naturally start challenging yourself, pushing to see how far you can get within the limited time you have. Sometimes you'll look back after the hour's finished and be stunned at how much you accomplished. And so, starting off with a quintessentially Japanese just-for-show attitude, Makina sits before her homework problems and pretends to ponder them. But as her style of pretending is pretty superficial, it amounts to a little more than a childish parody of real studying. Her pen doesn't move an inch. Oh no. So moaning in a vaguely appropriate way doesn't really count, you know? At least try to use your head. Realizing that is step one. I mean, the world would be overflowing with geniuses if you get smarter with no effort, right? Guess it's all for the best, though. Not like a super high IQ does much but make life harder. You're talking like you actually know something about this. Oh, she's talking about her childhood. Ah, right. I think I sort of know where you're coming from. People labeled prodigies and geniuses often come off as a little broken in the head. Huh? At what? So like, why would I laugh? Didn't you hear me? Kinda understand what you mean. I don't have first-hand experience, but my hyper-competent big sister fell into a similar category. Children labeled prodigies have their hands full, just meeting the expectation of those around them, and their brilliance earns resentment and jealousy from peers. At best, they end up walled off by their own exceptional status. As my sister often said, once they've set you apart, you're left with the choice. You can struggle to stay the genius, or you can play the fool and become a clown. And come to think of it, it's easy to imagine that's where my sister chose the former option. Makina went for the latter. You don't have to pretend to be an idiot around me, you know? Everyone plays their role. Guess I like you the way you are. Well, not that I want you to keep acting like a doofus, but there's a lot I like about you right now. Let's see, for example, the way you're earnest and proactive about everything, the way you never give up on something without even trying. These last few weeks, I've deliberately said some pretty absurd things to Makina, made some unreasonable demands. Even so, the girl gives everything a try. She's eager to discover new things she can do, and willing to work hard at the things she can't yet manage. And when she does succeed at a task she struggled with, she comes running right over to me with her face full of pride, fishing for compliments. At the end of the day, the girl might just want my praise and respect, but it hardly matters why, does it? When I pat her on the head and say, "You did well," you see her squint like a contented kitten. Mysteriously enough, I find myself thinking, alright, what should I teach her next? Almost like an affectionate parent. I find that more than a little strange, but I can't deny it makes me happy as well. I'm willing to bet my master felt something similar when she adopted me. Looking at it from that angle, this make-believe game seems almost like some karmic mission pressed on me by fate. It's a slightly creepy thought, but there's also something fulfilling about it. I definitely like having you around. I think you're cute the way you are. But that doesn't mean I'm okay with you being a clown for the rest of your life. I want to make that clear. Let's see. In your case, the fact that you're already pretty comfortable financially might be the biggest problem. most compelling reason to study is probably when it's a step towards some lucrative future or dream or career. I mean, once you've decided what you want to do with your life, reading textbooks isn't exactly crucial. Like, if you're determined to become a pianist, you focus entirely on studying the piano and ignore the rest. Well, that's something of an extreme example, granted. Point is, it doesn't matter so much what you're learning. If you're really determined to become a concert pianist, for example, the piano must become a lens through which you see everything else. By engrossing yourself in the piano, you can gain a rich, broad understanding of the world, the kind of deep knowledge you'd never pick up from thumbing indifferently through textbooks. People can get myopic, of course. The difference between the word specialist and the term idiot savant is the difference between seeing the world through your field and mistaking your field for the world itself. Printing through the lens I picked up from my master, I got a pretty decent feel for the way things work out there. And as I learned, every scope you can pick offers its own unique perspective. Gazing through your chosen lens helps shape your values and define you as a person. Makina, do you have any, I don't know, dreams? Something you want to do when you grow up? That sort of thing?
So ne. 今んところパン屋さんが狙撃兵ぐらいかな。
A baker that's also a sniper. Well, you're not lacking in variety at least. Got the vaguely warm world of a baker, soothing people's souls through their taste buds. A cold sniper tracking a distant target with death in their eyes. When it comes to common ground, I guess they're both occupations requiring a lot of stoic behind-the-scenes effort. I'm feeling a little dubious about Makina's future planning right now. As a parent, I should be trying to leave as many paths open to her as possible. A sniper baker. She doesn't snipe like with bullets. She has like catapults where she snipes bread at people. A sniper. We're not gonna combine the terms together, okay? Considering my role as her master, I feel obligated not to laugh in her face. That said, what exactly am I supposed to do for her right now? There's a lot less clear. Glancing down at my watch, I find the dial reading 10 a.m. Alright, that's an hour. We're done studying. Cook the bullet into the bread? No, well, that'd be weird. If you're unhappy over wasting an hour of your life, why not use that time a little more productively tomorrow? Keep at it and take baby steps. That's how you form a lasting habit. Turn to the copy of Makina's schedule on the wall. The next block of the day has the words playtime scribbled next to it in sloppy letters. Seems we have some recreation next, but I have to say, doesn't this schedule have a great deal of playtime? The secret ingredient is gunpowder? Uh-oh. Again with this, play what? Don't think I recall a lot of playing in general. I got used to a way of life where extracurricular activities were limited to eating and sleeping, so my off days were usually some combination of napping, reading books, and studying. As for the guys around me, it was all cards, ponies, or boats. The rare outliers were the ones who opted for bikes or motorcycles instead. I'm not about to ask a girl ponies or poker in the first place. I went to the races or casinos when they forced me to tag along on a group outing. My old school, you need to submit an application to leave the grounds on your days off. Without a stamped authorization card, they wouldn't let you take a step outside. Well, that's true. It was indeed. There were a bunch of people who didn't get out much, myself included. No, I'm planning to visit a grave for one thing. My master's in Yamanashi. Need to clean it up and all that. Haven't decided yet, but sometime before the Bon Festival. Figure I set a welcoming fire. Today? To be certain, it seemed a little more constructive than hanging around the dorm aimlessly, and I did give JB advance warning on my plans. It's a little sudden, but I don't see any reason why not. Take my private cell phone from my breast pocket, navigate to the number marked JB, hard area, and press the call button.
Hi.
The phone rings several times before JB picks up. Her voice oozes with the bleary displeasure of an overworked public servant pulled out of bed by a telemarketer. Were you sleeping? It's about that trip to Asako's grave. I decided to go today.
また急ね。日にちが決まったなら3日前には報告してって言っておいたでしょ。
JB probably wanted to come along too. Thing is, when I woke up this morning, Asako was standing at my bedside with a bitterly resentful look on her face, cursing me for not visiting her grave. Burst into tears and said, "You got it all wrong! It's all JB's fault," but she didn't seem to buy it. Why are you believing this story? JB, you were just sleeping yourself, right? Tell me, has Asako's spirit paid you a visit yet? She hates ghosts. You get ghosts, man. In any case, I've got to visit Asako's grave ASAP. Give me permission to leave the prefecture. Affirmative. No, this time I'll be using conventional public transport. Halfway through the sentence, I happen to notice Amina's helmet lying in a corner of the room. Hold on, actually, I think I'll get there on my own power after all. No, I'll go by motorbike. I'm borrowing Amina's. He's like, nope, taking her bike. How many times do I have to tell you that I can't stand trains? Glad to see you understand the nature of our situation. Give me the go-ahead. Get some insurance in place just in case. Got it. I'll send that before I leave. Alright then. Bobotaro? Yeah, that's right. Amina did say I could use it at any time, you know? Figured I might as well take the chance to ride for the first time in a while. She did insure the thing properly, right? Documents will probably be with the vehicle itself, I guess. Let's go take a look. After locating a motorcycle key engraved with the letter K among numerous others dangling on a hook by the door inside Amina's room. Okay. Makina and I promptly head to the parking lot near the courtyard. Amina does talk about this bike every once in a while, but I've never actually seen her riding in this thing. In fact, although I've noticed a likely looking vehicle sitting under a cover in the lot, I've never actually cast eyes on the beast itself. Amina once said, I'm not sure what the name was, but Kawasaki 250, I guess? At first I pictured some sporty touring model with a parallel twin engine. But then again, Chizuru described it as a chopper that wouldn't look out of place in an American biker gang. Just what do we really have here? Brace myself for anything, I tear off the cover dramatically. What the hell? And still the very first words out of my mouth are a simple expression of disbelief. Even before I removed the tarp, I had the feeling something was off. For a general commercial model, the thing was just too short and too long. Indeed, the vehicle under the sheet is no mere motorcycle. It's a genuine hot rod, ridiculously low set, modified so violently that I can't even guess to what the original model was. This is ridiculous. It's like they cut it apart with a blowtorch and saw, then mashed it back together. The rear suspension is ludicrously short. Can't even remember the last time I saw a lowrider like this. Just from a glance, I can tell the frame's been cut at the neck, and elongated with a new weld at a different angle. And the conventional seat rail seems to have been chopped off entirely. It's been replaced by a small tandem seat sitting demurely on top of a tacked-on flat rear fender. Hell, even the main saddle's been replaced with a cruiser seat. I've been expecting to find the documents in a storage space under the seat, which clearly doesn't even exist anymore. For a moment, I just stare at the hacked-together monstrosity in astonishment. I'm not that familiar with the genre. I guess it's the sort of motorcycle you call old school? I see. This really is the sort of thing you could picture some American biker riding. That said, the delinquents over there are all riding super sports or power cruisers these days. The only people who really appreciate the classic American style anymore are old men with beer bellies and the Japanese. Tell me, Makina, you have any idea where she stashed the papers? Makina points out an inconspicuous leather tool bag hanging off the side of the motorcycle, secured at the fastener with a small padlock. Ah, right. There's a small key I couldn't identify on the same ring as the motorcycle key. Guess that's much easier for the bag. Let's see, the papers are... Oh, there we go. Removing the lock, I begin rifling through the contents of the cylindrical bag. Sifting through a minor assortment of tools, I discover a sheaf of papers rolled into a plastic tube. Owner, Suo Anime. We got the VIN and license plate number, the compulsory insurance. Looks like it's good through April next year. Damn, she's even got supplementary insurance with a rider covering a passenger. Yeah, she probably does. We should learn from her example. Alright then, looks like there won't be any issues using this. What? What? Well, when you chop it up and sew it back together like Frankenstein's monster, it's hardly surprising the thing might get a little cranky. Indeed, I'll take care of it. That said, easy enough to talk big, but what's the deal with this thing? Can't even tell what it used to be before they started hacking away at it. Look at the papers, it seems like the base was an off-road motorcycle. More precisely, a dual-purpose trail bike that could handle messing around in the dirt. But the motor model doesn't match the vehicle type. They swap in an engine from a totally different motorcycle? Completely ridiculous. Hell, where do you even put the key into this thing? There's nothing that looks like an ignition cylinder on the top bridge. After repeatedly looking over both sides of the frame, I finally discovered the key has been relocated under the main seat on the right side. Starting the key, I give it an exploratory half turn to the right. The custom mini meter wedge on the left of the tank, the green neutral light, and red oil light blink to life. Battery seems to be alive. Reach out to the right handle and feel around for the starter switches, but they aren't where I expect them to be either. Looking more carefully at the engine, and the self-starter motor seems to have been removed entirely. Holes plugged up with a black rubber stopper. It's a kick? Finding down a wave of rotation, I look over the right side of the frame and find the kickstart lever. It's unusually shaped. Looks custom ordered, probably designed to keep the brake from getting in the way when you're kicking down to start it. Wait, is this thing forward on the left and mid-control on the right? Unbelievable. Guess I should be grateful they didn't throw on a suicide clutch while they were at it. Probably because the rear brake... Guys, if you know your motorcycles, you could deal with this image, okay? Probably because the rear brake is a cable pulling drum type. The pedal is positioned further back compared to the shift lever on the left side. Seems like it'd feel a little weird. I mean, once the thing gets up to speed, you'll just be resting your right foot on the forward peg anyway. But having to move your leg all the way back to get to the brake is even more disconcerting. In any case, let's see how the engine runs. Flip open the cap of the carelessly unlocked tank and find plenty of gasoline inside. Within seconds, I can see volatilizing petroleum shimmering in the summer sunshine. Looks as though the fuel's still good. For switching the petcock valve under the tank from off to on, pull the choke plunger on the carburetor halfway out. Then put my foot on the kickstart and lightly press around the lever in search of a top dead center. When I discover the point of greatest resistance, I give it a good hard kick. Oh, that was easy enough. Considering how long the vehicle's just been sitting here and neglected, the motorcycle starts up so easily that it actually feels like a bit of an anticlimax. A vehicle this heavily customized is normally a bit more ornery. Was Amane actually keeping this thing maintained all the time it's been sitting here? Since I'm feeling a good bit of admiration for its owner, there's a strange little sneeze from the motorcycle's exhaust pipe, and its rigorously idling engine abruptly stalls. Whoops, well, figured it wouldn't be that easy. Give the kick pedal another vigorous step, but this time it doesn't even cough. There's no sign of the ignition even engaging. You've got to be kidding me, right? Battered by the blazing summer sun, lukewarm sweat trickling heavily down my forehead. Mash down the kick lever again and again. Neutral light's still on, so the electronics are still functioning. The battery's small MF type designed to power mopeds and scooters, but with a kickstart that should be more than enough. Even though the electrical system's fine, we're not getting a spark, and the engine did start once, just a minute ago, which would mean $10 says the CDI is on the fritz. Capacitor discharge ignition, or CDI for short. It's a generic term for an electronic device that controls the ignition of an engine. Among the extremely simple mechanical parts of a typical motorcycle engine, it stands out as a comparatively advanced piece of electronics. Because of that complexity, it's not uncommon for it to malfunction, especially given its position in a rough environment of high heat and constant vibration. Sometimes it'll abruptly stop working entirely. Damn it, where's the CDI? Peering under the tank, I find the ignition coil and follow along the harness. No, that's the turn signal relay. This is the headlight. Booster relay. Okay, what's this thing? The fuse box? Fuse isn't blown. God damn it, it's hot. Black puddle of sweat forms on the ground beside me as I squat next to the bike. CDI, where's the damn CDI? For a good 10 minutes of groping along the harness, finally noticed an inconspicuous side cover just below the seat on the left side. For moving it, I discover a square black object sitting next to the regulator rectifier. Found it! There you are, you little bastard! Carefully removing the coupler connecting the CDI to the harness, I intensely scrutinize the little black box, but there's no visual evidence of it being damaged. Then again, it's not exactly the sort of part you can reliably assess by eyeballing. Reaching my thumb around behind the plastic cover, I gently rub the electronic guts of the unit through the protective coat of epoxy resin. When the CDI is keeping your engine from starting, this will often be enough to bring it back to life. Of course, that's really just a temporary stopgap measure, not a resolution of the fundamental problem, but if this does get the engine firing again, I will confirm the CDI is responsible. Reattaching the freshly massaged piece of the electronic to its coupler, press down firmly on the kick pedal once more. Told you so, asshole! It really was the CDI! Hand over that 10. They vent my spleen on some vaguely defined imaginary foe. Amina's motorcycle Bobotaro springs easily back to life. Proceeds to rumble pleasantly away underneath me. I have to say though, this thing is pretty noisy. I'll take this sort of growling over high-pitched shrieking any day. But if I got this thing going and drove past some elementary school, it'd definitely be loud enough to get the kids grimacing and covering their ears with their hands. Oh well, guess I have to stuff some steel wool or something in the exhaust pipe and quiet it down. Just watch over the thing as it idles for a while, but the engine doesn't seem inclined to sputter off again. Maybe the CDI itself wasn't the issue. Contact with the coupler might just have been off. Temporarily stopping the engine, I check the oil and lights and move on to testing the front and rear brakes. All good. When I finally get around to looking at the air pressure on the tires, Christ, are you serious? It's got a damn flat. Am I going to have to change a tire in this absurd heat? Call me a damn brake already. Sighing heavily, I lean my head back and gaze up into the sky. Within seconds, I can feel the tip of my nose scorching under the blazing sunlight. Sorely tempted to just say screw it, but after this effort, giving up and going by train would be seriously galling in its own right. This right here might take some time. Muttering an excuse to no one in particular, I decide to temporarily return to my room and rehydrate myself. For a moment, I'm seriously tempted to take the wheel off entirely and lug it back to my bathroom and patch it up. But fortunately, it doesn't prove to be anything quite serious. When I started pumping air back into the tire, it inflates back up normally. The pancake on the bottom disappears completely in a matter of minutes. Why is it that tube tires always manage to lose air just sitting in the parking lot? Well, this minor mystery nags at me somewhat. By the time 11 rolls around, we successfully readied everything we need for our trip. Alright. Are all the preparations for departure complete? Excellent. Time is currently 1100 hours. Beginning the operation. All personnel embark. Straddling Bobotaro like a bold general swinging onto the warhorse, I deposit Makina in the tandem seat, make sure she's got a firm grip on my waist. Then kick the bike into first gear with the tip of my left foot, slowly squeeze the clutch lever to the handle. Oh, snap. Got a good picture of it too now. Looks like it's going to be another hot one. You did put on sunscreen, right? As we begin to leisurely putter along the coastal road in the direction of Yamanashi Prefecture, Makina and I talk through the two-way FM radios we use for our sniper games. Naturally, I hooked them up to throat mics for hands-free operation. The way Amine drives, though. You think? I mean, what kind of idiot would start roaring around on a bike like this? The tire loses a little air, your levers will be dragging along the ground. Low center of gravity is nice, but this is ridiculous. I've never driven a motorcycle this bizarrely low to the ground before. Just leisurely gliding along in the wake of the car ahead doesn't feel half bad. That said, I can't help but thinking its overall lack of power and weak maneuverability is going to be an issue once we get on those steep mountain roads. Well, let's just take it slow and easy. Nice casserole. You're old enough to have a license yourself, Makina. Why don't you take the test? Well, I guess I can sort of understand how she feels. It's easy to picture Makina hopping on a moped or something, shouting, "Okay, then I'm going off to play," and tottering off into the distance. At which point, you'd be sitting by the phone, biting your nails, waiting for a call from some hospital or the police. When you snatch away something from a child and tell them it's dangerous, they'll go to any lengths to play with it behind your back. Personally, I feel like it's better just to let them learn under your strict supervision. But maybe that's a testosterone-infused way of looking at it. I mean, that thing. Let's see, the way you balance, turn, and stop are all pretty similar to a bicycle, so I don't think it'd be impossible for you to learn. Well, unlike Amane, you're short and have stubby legs. Might be a little tricky for you to get the hang of it right now. For starters, let's stick to practicing on your bicycle. Maybe next time we could try some gymkhana in the parking lot at school. It's an ideal game for learning the most fundamental part of operating a two-wheeled vehicle, shifting your body weight while controlling the contact patch and load on your tires. You compete for the best time on an obstacle course. You'll fall off constantly until you get used to it, you know? I know I did. When I was 14 or so, I think. Drove around on the private land up in the mountains where I was living with my master. Right, she started me off by making me climb onto this full-size dirt bike she used to ride. My legs weren't even close to reaching the ground. So I'd have to reach up and squeeze the clutch with one foot on the gear shift, then swing up onto the seat only after the thing started moving. Getting it started wasn't a picnic, and stopping was just as much of a pain. I had a choice between decelerating as much as possible for jumping down onto the brake, or stop myself manually with a foot against some stone or tree. Looking back on it now, it's pretty impressive that I managed to ride the thing at all. I'd been riding a bicycle for a long time, so I don't remember being particularly scared. After all, I wasn't trying to pull any death-defying stunts. Compared to the terror I experienced previously, it probably didn't even register. Come to think of it, I didn't feel particularly afraid the first time I took my master's place in the field either. Even after finishing the job and returning home and completing my report, when she asked, "Were you scared?" I honestly answered no. Hell, I almost felt like I'd had fun. When night came and there was nothing left to do but take a bath and go to sleep, I found myself holding my dick over the toilet bowl, completely unable to piss. A small twinge of doubt ran through me. I finally noticed that my hands were shaking. As the tension finally drained out of me like a string removed from a bow, I was seized by terror so intense I thought I might never stop shaking. I casually, almost thoughtlessly slipped by a situation where one wrong step could have meant death. Mixed in with the fear was a wave of thankfulness for my sheer dumb luck. I was fortunate today, but the dice might very well fall differently next time. With that thought, the shaking grew stronger. Even now, I can vividly remember the terror I felt that night. But after experiencing that fear again and again, I guess you could say I obtained the ability to control those feelings. Or maybe I just gained a nose for danger, and the instinct to avoid it. When you get right down to it, I think it might just be a matter of experience and caution. Put in enough hours to develop the foresight to see trouble coming ahead of time, and you'll be completely fine. You're at greatest risk when you start thinking, "I'm on top of my game today, bring it on." Basically, don't get too carried away or you'll end up taking a fall. That pretty much sums up riding a motorcycle. I already explained this with the bicycle last time. Any vehicle is safe enough as long as you stay aware of your surroundings and give yourself a generous margin for error. Yeah, you got the idea. Incidentally, right now I'm going about half my baseline pace. Don't know how much I can trust a mini-meter wedge onto a different company's bike, but roughly 50 kilometers per hour. Given the speed and following distance, even the guy in front of us spills hot coffee on his pants and smashes into the guardrail, we wouldn't have any problem dealing with this situation. What's it like driving a motorcycle anyway? Posed this question by Makina, I briefly paused to consider. Do you remember the first day you rode a bicycle? Well, Makina was practically just the other day, so I'm sure she remembers it vividly. The feelings it inspired might not have even faded completely. The day you learned to ride a bike, the day you pedaled alone down an unfamiliar road for the first time, didn't it feel like the world had suddenly grown larger around you? This world's an endless road that can take you anywhere at all, and that bicycle can carry you much, much further than your weak little legs. That first day, did you ask yourself just how far can I go? The first day I rode a motorcycle, that open question was replaced with something I felt like an answer. I can go wherever the hell I want. That's what a motorcycle is. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. You can go wherever you want. Stop where you want. You can just ride along with no destination at all if you want. That's what a motorcycle is. I consult my watch to discover it's already 1 in the afternoon. As if on cue, Makina begins complaining about her grumbling stomach, so I pull over at a random suitable spot and lay out our plastic picnic sheet for a late lunch. The lunch boxes Makina prepared were, as she had declared earlier, packed primarily with freshly baked cinnamon rolls and pumpkin bread. According to Makina, making these required comparatively little effort on her part, as the bread machine took care of the primary fermentation. That said, the taste is nothing to scoff at. The girl claims that anyone with a bread maker and a functioning brain could achieve such results. I'm slightly moved to learn that we're living in an era where even amateurs can produce bread of this caliber. At the same time, it feels as though I've caught a glimpse of dark clouds gathering on the horizon for the bakery industry. Oh my god, if they pass by like, oh hey look, crash, that'd be really sad. Okay, first of all, grapes grow on vines. Secondly, those are mulberry trees. Not that I know of. Why are you so caught up on the grapes anyway? Okay, try not to talk as though Yamanashi's got nothing but grapes to offer the world. Good people of Koshu will give you a swift boot to the rear. Peaches? Wait, no! There's also Hoto soup, and those rice cakes with black honey, and don't mess with the valley, okay? Did you really have to say that last part? Such a cheeky little brat. Where'd you get that chutzpah from, anyway? Very true. Alright, well, anyway, that's a mulberry tree. Food for your Bombix Mori. What, you don't know about the silkworm moths? Farm the larvae and make silk from their cocoons. The industry's been around forever, you know? Yeah, it's a natural fiber. You didn't know that either? Wrong on many levels, but the strange thing is, I can actually understand what you're trying to say somehow. I know, right? They used the same route when they went to visit the bus memorial. Just looking is fine by me. But don't start plucking off fruit. You got that? Also put your hat on first. Just like that, Makina darts off into the blazing sun, flapping her outstretched arms like a bird as she rushed over toward the mulberry field. Thanks to her diminutive frame, she looks like a young child heading off to play. The girl shows interest in anything and everything she encounters. If she runs into something she doesn't understand, she immediately asks why. In return, I offer what answers I can from my own experience and knowledge. If that fails me, we think it over together. Sometimes hearing Makina's perspective leads me to new insights of my own. I guess this might be what people mean when they say teaching someone means learning from them in return. Come to think of it, it was my own instructor who told me that. The person who taught me everything, made me want to learn in the first place, not a parent or teacher. Kusakabe Asako. My master, the woman who single-handedly built me up from nothing. For better or worse, I'm at least 80% the person she made me. She found the whelp crawling along the bottom of the valley of despair, reached down her hand and pulled it up into the world of human beings. For Asako, picking me up might have been an afterthought. An impulsive, spur-of-the-moment decision. Not much more than a whim. Even so, if I hadn't met her, I wouldn't be what I am today. Probably would have given up on life outright a long time ago. Asako was there. On that day, in that moment, she took me by the hand. The first woman I saw naked? Maybe. Thanks to her, the people around her, primarily a certain aggravating, shaggy-headed blonde. Jamie! I'm standing here today. Still living, carrying the final words she left me in my heart. What was the point of keeping a piece of trash like me alive? I want to answer that question. That more than anything else is what keeps me going. Yeah, what's up? No kid. Hey, wait a second. What are you eating? Okay, you put a finger in your mouth and stared at the melon with the big wistful eyes, didn't you? Please tell me you at least said thank you. Wait? So I already picked up some weird snatches of Koshu dialect just from talking with the local for a few minutes? Girl sure adapts quickly. No, maybe her brain's just pliable as a piece of putty? I stand beside Makina and bow dubiously to the kind farmer. Alright then, seems like we're more than hydrated enough. I think it's time we got back on the road. Oh, maybe we'll find out in a future game. Alianzi on the double. You know, your dialect is a little off there. Seems like the field artillery is practicing today. My ears begin to pick up the air-shaking thunder of the guns in the distance. Feels like we finally entered the Yamanashi I know. When the vehicles we pass on the road, squat, medium trucks, and high mobility vehicles, painted khaki grow increasingly common. At one point, I make eye contact with the commander sticking his head out of the cupola on a passing Type 96 and I have to restrain the impulse to salute. I have to say, Makina, for someone who's supposedly so shy around strangers, you're pretty sociable. Although Yuuji Makina has firmly established her position as the shy girl at Mihama Academy, from what I've seen, this reputation seems somewhat exaggerated. In fact, just the other day, I witnessed her impudently sponging chestnut candy off some old couple on a bench outside a sweet shop in the shopping district. Well, you did in fact proceed to munch away at the chestnuts with a dopey look of bliss on your face. There might have been some snorting and snuffling involved. Right. So my question is, how exactly are you supposed to be shy again? Actually, it's probably his sister that he saw naked. Come to think of it, after what we found out Namen around anyway, come to think of it, it does seem like you're always targeting kind-looking older people. Target them old people for their snacks and candies and stuff. So I guess elderly people don't seem so scary, is that it? Hang out with the old folks, man. Oh, you meant outside his family? I meant specifically his sister because of the way she talked about stuff. What? So what? Because she spent all that time surrounded by geezers, she never had the chance to pick up the niceties of interacting with people her age? Making it awkward to approach them, I guess?
を嗅ぎ分ける嗅覚には他の被験を許さないほどに卓越したものがあるとの自負があるのよさ。
That's quite a skill Makina has. I see.
臭さじゃパパも相当なもんなのよ。私がパパに懐いた理由だってなんかじもさい人だなって思ったのがきっかけだったしな。
Huh? A grandpa? Well, I do get you don't act much like a kid pretty frequently. This is a first.
なんつんだろ、じもさいっていうか妙に落ち着いてるし自分の中にピンと一歩ぶれない筋が通ってるっていうか。何？もし？若武者？なんかそんな風に感じたのよさ。
Now that you mention it, there was this one time JB saw me repairing my tools on the weekend. Said, you look like a Ronin making umbrellas. True enough, I've never disliked jobs that call for a steady accumulation of sober effort. I can't say I was expecting a comparison to a masterless swordsman living austerely off his handicrafts. 2.5 hours have passed since our departure from the dorm. We reach an area I know by sight, no longer even bothering to check the map. I doggedly ride up familiar mountain roads toward our destination. The path begins to narrow steadily. It's still paved, fortunately, but soon it's thin enough to deserve the description of farm road. If a car were to come in the opposite direction, we wouldn't be able to pass each other. That said, the odds of us running into traffic are pretty much zero. At this point, all we have ahead of us is one lonely cell phone tower, an iron gate guarding the entrance to an obscure national forest. The only people we could possibly run into up here would be maintenance workers for the telecom company, or tourists who took a few wrong turns, I suppose. Botaro labors up the final stretch of road, straining to carry his 2 passengers up the 15-degree slope, 26 at its worst points. His tablets clack beneath us in a constant chorus of complaint. And finally, after passing 3 sets of faded signboards reading "Authorized personnel only beyond this point," set 100 meters apart, the iron gate we're looking for comes into view. We're here, Makina. Makina spreads her legs wide open to push herself over the tandem seat, lowering herself to the ground in a less refined manner. Girl rubs her tender rear end through her skirt, twirling around like a dog chasing its own tail. Turning my back on her, I insert my key into the padlock on the hefty iron gate. Well, it's technically the country's mountain. My master and I lived in a cabin up here, managing the land. Let's see, it gets about a 30-minute walk from here. So 2.5 hour drive with a 30-minute walk. That's pretty far. I like to ride up there myself, but I don't think Bobotaro here would handle a rocky slope like this too well. Beyond the open gate, a coarse gravel road continues into the mountain, slanting sharply upward at a good 30 degrees or so. Unless you're driving a four-wheel drive Jeep or dirt bike with off-road tires, getting a vehicle up this would be pretty tricky. Ominous, Bobotaro is a road bike, poorly suited to mountain trails to begin with. Given the ridiculous lowrider remodeling, it clearly get its belly stuck in the dirt before climbing 10 meters. No, it's only steep by the entrance. After 30 meters or so, the slope gets a lot more gentle. See? You have to adapt. Kill Bobotaro's engine, sling Makina's rucksack over my left shoulder. Leaving our friend sitting in first gear in the middle of the road, 2 of us step past the gate. We're from sky to more sky. To the forest where clearly a lot of bad things happen at some point. What? Things haven't changed much in my absence from the mountain. As always, the air's thick with the lusty cries of cicadas. There's no sign of human presence. Under the squawking insects, the only sounds are the crunching of our feet against the gravel and weeds, and Makina's labored breathing growing quicker and louder with every minute. You alright? The girl can be surprisingly stubborn at times like these. Probably an attempt to demonstrate she's not a helpless weakling who needs to be babied constantly. Still, I'll have to be sure to keep an eye on her though, or she might end up collapsing to the ground and falling asleep on the spot. god. Yeah, when you reuse assets like this, I'm like, But at the same time, you know, the game has so much dialogue and verbiage that it's like inevitable it's gonna happen. And everything's voiced. Everything but JB. About what? Well, let's see. Where do I even begin? No, it looks like my sister. Actually, they never found her body. Come to think of it, although I brought Asako up numerous times, I don't remember getting into the details. I mean, nobody really seemed that interested. No, I guess I was just too awkward to ask. My master's name was Kusakabe Asako. First met when I was 12 or 13 or so. It's a lot older than me, obviously. Lost my entire family a while before this. At the time, a friend of my dad's had taken me in, but... well, that family friend was what you call a bad guy. The kind of man who slips through the cracks in the law, profiting off misery and tearing money away from soft-hearted people. The bad guy in question made some enemies on the shadier side of our government, bit off a little bit more than he could chew. They decided to bring the hammer down. And a small assault force that invaded the villain's lair, well, mansion, and suppressed it in the blink of an eye was led by Master Kusakabe Asako. Yeah, that's the basic outline. Not constantly. We lived here for the first year or so, but I ended up getting shipped off to America fairly soon because of circumstances with Asako's employer. Good memory. That's right, and in between all that, I lived with Asako. She's the one who helped me find the strength I needed to live. Don't think mommy quite covers it. If I had to categorize the woman, I'd say she was my master. In the sense that she raised a cowardly, snot-nosed brat into a reasonably competent man, I guess you could say she was something like a mother. Kusakabe Asako was the only person I ever called master, the only person I ever will. I was nothing but a filthy little cockroach she happened to carry home from her job one night. We weren't related. She had no obligation to do anything but flush me down the toilet, and instead she spent the rest of her life raising me. The woman was a force of nature, infallible and unshakable. Even if she's gone, Kusakabe Asako will always be the strongest woman in the world to me. Just as I estimated, after about 30 minutes of trudging up the mountain, the forest around us begins to thin, and the rough dirt trail grows gentle and slow. As we reach an even plot of land that seems to have been cut neatly out of a natural plateau, a single log cabin comes into view beyond a chained-up metal gate. Oh, here's some new scenery! Alright, Makina, we're here. Grew up in? Well, I guess you could say that. Yeah, this is the house where I was raised. It's only been 2 months or so since I left. The cabin is already under siege by thick wild grasses. The sight inspires a small twinge of melancholy. I'm tempted to start attacking those weeds right away, but I guess we should go in and rest for a while first. Don't me, kid. Now I have to call up Amane and give her yet another scolding. Remove my keyring from the carabiner I've been using to fasten it to my belt. Select an old-fashioned key with a dull golden color. Push it to equally old-fashioned keel on the oil-fished teakwood door. Give it one rotation to the left. The interior of the cabin, naturally enough, hasn't changed at all in the months since I saw it last. Even after I left, I'm pretty confident JB kept up that melodramatic habit of dropping by for a solitary drink in memory of the departed. Although she's surprisingly averse to cleaning for someone with such an anal personality, since she wasn't quite lazy enough to leave her crumpled cans of potato chip wrappers lying around the place. It's interesting we got to come here. Well, it's not like I was living on my own. Only partially paying attention to the conversation, I wander over to the fridge and reach for the handle. Still cold. Guess the electricity is still flowing. Want something to drink? Might have been a hasty offer. Nothing but beer and smoked cheese, huh? Naturally enough, I emptied out the fridge before leaving this cabin behind. The little we do have is clearly just leftovers from JB's visits. Other than the booze and snacks, there's also 3 bottles of my favorite eye drops sitting on a lower shelf. Probably the woman's attempt at a thoughtful gesture in case it decides to return at some point. Retrieve 1 bottle of eye drops from the fridge and glance over at Makina. Hey Makina?
Huh?
Catch! A sniper's eyes are their life. Give that stuff a try. Apply some to both eyes 30 minutes before shooting and stretch your ocular muscles. Your focusing speed changes pretty dramatically. Gazing curiously at the bottom of her hand, Makina carefully breaks the seal, and leans her head back with mouth slightly ajar to apply the drops. 1 drop per eye is plenty. No need to blink too much either. Give it a second, then start slowly moving your eyes in figure 8s. As the eyeballs begin to move back and forth underneath her lids, Makina's upper body sways along with them. Slowly open your eyes, alternate between looking at something nearby and something far away. Helps get you focusing properly. That's all there is to it. Just repeat this 4 times a day, morning, noon, evening, and before you go to bed. Still listening? Makina's eyes, after focusing at random on the distant objects, have stopped darting back and forth. She's staring at the middle of a small bookshelf where a single photograph of Asako and me as a kid stands in a frame. When I left this cabin behind, I deliberately flipped the face down in an attempt at symbolic closure. Now it's been returned to its original position. Damn it, JB! Mind your own business. Show me the picture! Yeah, that's right. Reach out and take the frame from the bookshelf. This is the one and only photograph of Asako remaining in this world. It was taken not long after she first took me in, and she dragged me off to a zoo in Ueno on what seemed like a whim. Not really a photograph I wanted to show off, but... Pass over the frame to Makina, who proceeds to intently contemplate the photo inside. So it glowers at the camera, eyebrows furrowed in clear irritation. At her side, a younger me stares coldly at nothing in particular, eyes clouded but glittering with a venomous sheen. Got a pretty awful look on my face, right? At the time I was just completely empty, didn't give a damn about anything or anyone. Pretty much just a dead kid that forgot to stop breathing. Guess Asako got so fed up watching me that she decided to try her hand at babysitting. Not exactly her field of expertise, you understand? You could tell from the... It's a long story, but the abbreviated version is that my whole family died. I was deeply involved in their deaths. I was responsible, so I couldn't just push the blame on someone else. That self-loathing was probably just too much for me to deal with. Wrapped myself up in a shell instead. Thanks to Asako, I managed to get back on my feet somehow. She gave me, not a reason to live, and at least an excuse not to die. Might seem almost too vigorous these days, but if I hadn't met Asako, if Asako hadn't taken me in, I may well have died a long time ago. Yeah, then she went and died before I had the chance to repay the debt. Unbelievable, right? It's not how I felt about it, actually. Didn't really mourn when Asako passed. Been prepared for the possibility she might die at any time. But for some reason I still had a hard time believing she was actually gone. Guess there was a part of me that couldn't accept that monster of a woman was really dead. There was one word that described Asako. It was ridiculous. Not a shred of common sense in her body. She was a bull of a woman, and the world was her personal china shop. And to me, she was something like a god, or a devil, maybe both. Okay, here's a story. That actually happened the same day that picture was taken. I was just sitting around wallowing in self-hatred, holding a private pity party, honestly. As if that was going to make up for anything, all of a sudden, Asako grabs me by the hand and drags me off to the zoo. Showing me all these animals I'd never seen before. Elephants, giraffes, zebras, the whole deal. Probably hoping to get at least some minor sign of interest out of me. But, well, I was really acting like a brat back then. I mean, I actually was a brat, but still. Kept myself inside that shell, not even twitching an eyebrow at anything she showed me. I guess that attitude got Asako pretty irritable after a while. So the two of us are just standing there staring at the lions in complete silence. When all of a sudden this one big guy opens his mouth wide and tries to scare us off with a giant roar. And next thing I know, Asako's bellowing, "Shut the hell up! Don't roar at me, asshole! Fucking kill you!" So yeah, she was the sort of person who would get into a shouting contest with the King of Beasts and win. Woman was nuts. I mean, her opponent was locked up in a cage. Anyone could have yelled at him if they wanted to. When Asako screamed in his face, the animal actually flinched, then just backed away slowly. She's seen the look on his face. So that I was gawking at her with the eyes wide open, thinking, this woman's a complete lunatic. I noticed I was smiling. Because that was the moment when I started slowly regaining halfway normal emotions. Apparently this Kusakabe Asako person is amazing. Well, I don't know about that. It says meeting me was really a good thing. Hard to know for sure yet, don't you think? When you put it like that, I feel a little weight on my shoulders. Hey, Asako, I feel the same way as Makina. I remember what you said to me just before you died. Sorry, Yuuji. I ran my big mouth about teaching you how to live, training you to do an ugly job in the shadows the best I could manage. Maybe so, but I'm still grateful to you. Because even now, your words are what kept me stumbling forward. Without intending to do so, I ended up on a fairly lengthy digression about my past. Among many mixed emotions, a small flush of embarrassment rose to the surface. In an effort to hide this, I abruptly declared break time's over, then walking around to the shed out back. Though we always called it a shed, the building itself is pretty impressive. Not that different from the main cabin in size, the storehouse packed full of tools and provisions necessary to live up here. Pull Makina along into the storehouse, seeking out weapons with which to confront the well-entrenched hordes of weeds that have flourished in the summer heat. Specifically, retrieve a few hand scythes and spades, an old lawnmower, and a pair of straw hats hanging from the nails on the wall. Good straw hat with a wide brim is indispensable for weeding under the blazing sun. Very true. Like, a very good straw hat actually also has a lot of breathability to it, which is nice. Put on the hat Asako used when she was alive, and drop the smaller one I wore as a child onto Makina's head. Takes another 5 minutes of climbing up the mountain to reach Asako's grave, not far from the summit. The gravestone stands in a spot affording an unbroken view of the basin below. While the location may be good, the gravestone itself is hardly worthy of the name. It's a huge, fairly decent looking rock picked at random from the woods, and half buried in the ground to keep it erect. In fact, the rough surface of the stone doesn't even have her name chiseled onto it. It's a crude marker and nothing else. Even so, there's no doubt that Asako's remains are resting here. Straw Hat Luffy, where you at? I was the one who took the ashes from the funeral home and buried them, and I was the one who raised the gravestone above them. When it came to religion, Asako's official position was no policy. She used to half joke about it. If I croak, just bury me wherever. I won't complain as long as you burn me up first. Just poke a popsicle stick in the ground for a gravestone. Left these half-assed instructions to work off after Asako's death. JB arranged for a cremation, then agreed to leave the rest entirely to me. I was at a complete loss for a while, but in the end decided to make the mountain where we lived together her final resting place. Nobody criticized that choice, remote and lonely as it might seem. Asako never had a family to begin with. Her best friend JB had no complaints about my decision. Since I was the one who chose this place, the duty of maintaining it also rests with me. Starting the engine of the lawnmower, I pushed up here from the shed. I'm not going to hang back while I mow down the weeds in one sweep. When that's done, I switch to my spade and quietly begin digging away at their stubborn roots. Makina follows behind as I steadily work my way around the clearing. As I hack down the weeds and pull them out of the earth, she picks them up and collects them in heavy-duty trash bags. It's ridiculously hot, dirty, and monotonous work. Not a fun job in any way, shape, or form. Makina holds out surprisingly well, not complaining even once as we fight our way through the overgrown wild grasses. We keep it up for maybe 2 hours, covered in sweat and grime. Feels even longer than that. By the time I finally sit down to stretch out my aching back, having fully liberated Asako's gravestone from the summer weeds that had nearly engulfed it, we filled 8 of our 70-liter trash bags to the brim. Well, guess that's good enough. Slowly raise my tired body up off the ground, then turn around to look at Makina in her dirt-smeared face. Yet the girl binding her lower lip with something uncertain in her eyes, I realized I'd been hacking away at the weeds in total silence all this time. She may have been struggling along beside me in an attempt to be considerate. Slightly touched, I speak to her in the gentlest tone of voice I can manage. Tired, right? Let's call it a day. Taking the towel I wrapped around my neck for protection against the sun, I wiped the dirt from her face. Apparently understanding from the gesture that I had finished a simple greeting to my departed friend, Makina's formerly tense face loosens into a dopey, ticklish smile. By the time the colors of evening fill the sky, we put away our tools and return to the grave. I light a bundle of wooden chopsticks resting on a plate from the cabin's kitchen. Small welcoming fire for Asako's spirit. So Asako loves her drink. I also brought a can of beer from the fridge. Popping it open, I set it upside down on top of the gravestone and let the contents pour out. Thin fluttering flame and its column of smoke are the signal beacon. The beer is the bait to make sure she doesn't hesitate to drop by. Close my eyes and press my hands together. A moment later, I hear Makina do the same. Hey Asako. I'm still dragging my sorry hide around, trying to figure out why you kept me alive. No luck on that front. But even so, I think there are a few things I'm starting to understand little by little. The things I can do. The things only I can do. The things I have to do. And the things I want to do. Tell me something, Asako. This is how it was for you as well? Did it start off just a whim? Taking me in like that? Even so, that small presence at your side ended up becoming your reason to live. Starting to feel like I can understand now. Not that it's that complicated, really. Saw a face one day. Somehow you just vaguely knew it was the one thing in the world you needed to protect. Am I right? All of a sudden you're telling yourself, ah, now I get it. Maybe I've been living all this time so I could be here for this, to protect this one thing. This is Yuuji Makina. Speak out loud to the wavering flame, introducing Makina to Asako's grave. See? Look at that. Found something I want to protect as well. Just as you had your doubts back then, I don't know yet if I'm making the right decisions. I understand that things never go as smoothly as planned. Amane and I, currently playing the roles of mommy and daddy, probably do possess broader experience and knowledge than Makina. Oh man, do you guys possess experiences, right? And we like to think that we understand her to some degree. Even so, I can't say with any confidence that the well-intentioned advice we give her is necessarily worthwhile. Separating the right from the wrong, there's only one decision that won't lead to regret, the one Makina makes herself. Right now, she says she wants to be a baker or a sniper. Whatever road she chooses to follow, the decision ultimately has to be up to her. Told me something about this once, right? Want to choose the better path? Listen carefully to the people who walk the trail before you, as many of them as you can find. Fortunately enough, Makina is still very young. She'll have the chance to hear many people's thoughts. I think she should actively seek them out. There's a limit to the amount of information any one human being can directly obtain. Don't get caught up with the things in front of your nose. If you're trying for the big picture perspective, it won't go wrong too often. Right, Asako? Hey, Makina. Want to say something to Asako as well? So, clasping her hands together and keeping her eyes shut, Makina quietly opens her mouth to speak. If it wasn't for you, I don't think Papa and I would have met, so thank you. Makina's softly mumbled words hit me harder than I expected. Asako, you moved on and left me behind. You did enough. Accomplished the job you were here to do. That's why you were allowed to die. I haven't earned that right yet, but I'll get there someday. I know I will. Think you can wait for me until then? Gravestone offers no reply to my silent question. I know perfectly well that this entire ceremony is nothing but a way for those left behind to find something like comfort. But I can still feel heat spreading behind my eyelids. Alright, I'm hungry. Want to eat? Taking the plate in one hand as her small fire begins to gutter out, and seizing Makina's small hand in the other, I set off down the rough trail leading back to the cabin. As twilight gives way to darkness, I twist open the propane stopcock and leave the bathwater to heat as I begin preparing dinner. Of course, the fridge is a barren wasteland, and the vegetable garden out behind the shed has run wild with weeds. Our only viable provisions at the moment be the stores of vacuum-packed instant rice and canned salmon piled up in the shed. Can't manage much other than gruel or fried rice with this. Pasta? Ah, Those are actually straight ramen noodles. Completely forgot we had that stuff. Packages Makina misidentified as pasta contains long strands of dried instant ramen noodles. We used to have these stashed all over the place, and the Hakata pork bones flavor in particular was one of Asako's favorite foods. After a few beers, she'd almost always devour a bowl of ramen heaping with vegetables. That brings me back. Asako used to make these for me all the time when she got drunk. You knew it? Mom spaghetti. This is it. Asako's instant ramen is the mom spaghetti reference we're waiting for. M&M complete. Normally you're supposed to boil these for 3 minutes, but Asako opted for a 60-second stir fry in a pan. Yo, someone knows. She focused mainly on eating the toppings, picking out the well-simmered noodles only every once in a while. Makina, you haven't tried these before, have you? Want to have some? That said, we got nothing in the way of toppings. Can't hope to imitate the Asako-style tower of fried bean sprouts and cabbage doused in vegetable oil. Fortunately enough, we do discover dry chives and roasted sesame seeds under the sink, not red pickled ginger or strips of pork. It's a little more than plain ramen. But in combination with the fried rice, we've at least got a somewhat respectable looking meal on our table 15 minutes later. Rather than dinner, it does seem a little more like an oversized midnight snack. Perhaps owing to Amina's strong anti-instant ideology leanings, Makina seems to find some novelty value in the meal. She gobbles down the ramen in a blink of an eye, repeatedly yelping, "Delicious!" Packing game's over. Not yet. By the time we finish with this somewhat rough supper, the hour hand on the clock turned past 8. Which for me happened an hour and a half ago, guys. Turning to Mihama at this hour would be far too troublesome. And I have 2.5, 3 hour walk, 30-minute walk, 2 hours. Yeah, it'll be 3 hours. You'll be back at 11. Returning to Mihama at this hour would be far too troublesome. More than anything else, I'm concerned about the danger Makina might fall asleep in the backseat and slip right off. All things considered, it clearly would be best to set up camp at the cabin for the night, then make our way back tomorrow morning. Her belly full of Makina has already begun to mumble incoherently on the verge of sleep. Haul her to her feet and unceremoniously strip off her clothes. Then launch her into the bath with a kick to the rear, tossing her dirty outfit into the beat-up bowl, wash her dryer just outside the bathroom door. Still awake in there? So I'm transferring her wet clothes to the dryer half of the machine. Call to Makina for the 3rd time in the last 10 minutes. Last thing I need is the girl falling asleep in the tub and drowning herself. I strain my ears, I can make out the sound of Makina splashing around, washing her body, as well as her cheerful rendition of Tuna Fish Man's theme song, which mainly involves yelling, "Maguroman! Fighting for justice!" repeatedly in the jumble of English and Japanese. But seriously, is that ghastly human tuna hybrid really supposed to be a superhero? Just seeing the character without any context, I'm pretty sure I would have pegged him as a hideous monster of the week rather than a protagonist. But then again, the world's a place of constant change. Maybe the children of the world have acquired a taste for the avant-garde in their Saturday morning entertainment? Either way, it seems I still got a lot to learn. Makina gets out of the bath and wrap a white towel snugly around her head and twist it back and forth until her hair is dry. Then slip an old Oxford shirt from my days as a student in America onto her as a temporary substitute for her clothes. Naked except for a long-sleeved man's dress shirt several sizes too large, Makina begins loosely bending her waist back and forth like a patient suffering a amoebic dysentery. She then coos "ooh la la" in a high-pitched voice. Alright, wait here. I'll get a dictionary so you can take a careful look at the definition of the word sexy. Whatever my faults. I pride myself on my sincerity toward women. For her bath, Makina's eyelids seem to have grown about as heavy as lead. Hot water seems to have given her something of a second wind. She's a little doing to get her crammed into bed. Although she nods off easily enough in the middle of the day, the girl also has a habit of refusing to fall asleep when you actually want her to. Normally I could leave this to Amane, but that's obviously not an option today. Fortunately, no matter how much Makina grumbles about not being sleepy yet, when I forcefully scoop her up, she always ceases to struggle and wraps her arms around my neck. Basically, the girl's just scared of going to bed alone. After that, it's a simple matter of depositing her in bed, holding her hand for 30 minutes or so until she falls asleep in earnest. I lift Makina's small body in my arms, struck by the scent of familiar shampoo, mingled with the subtly feminine smell of her skin. Reminds me so strongly of Asako that I actually started a little in surprise. Which one was I telling you again?
パパがアメリカに住んでた頃の話で、友達と賭けをして180メートル先の標的に当てたってやつ。
It's an oddly specific story you still remember. What? Again? I've already told you that one 3 times today.
もう一回聞きたいよ。あと、みんなでハイキングに行った時の社会15センチの話も聞きたい。
You really like this stuff for some reason, don't you? Makina's gonna grow up to be a sniper, guys. It's official. I'm sure why she finds this sort of thing so interesting, but Makina's burning to hear my stories lately. The flower pot, the cat, and the severed head. His name was Ryback. Unlucky Zippo. Where's the telephone? Atu Island. From among this fairly well-varied assortment of anecdotes, there's one in particular that's clearly become the girl's favorite. Specifically 180 meters from scrubbing the John. Right, so this was back when I was 14 years old, attending Uncle Sam's school in America. One day I ended up making a bet with a classmate. I've been distinguishing myself as a sniper at the time, and this particular classmate kept coming at me with this stupid line. What's with the rifle specialty? Isn't your name Uzi? Oh, because it's Yuuji. Not only did I not fight back, I didn't show the slightest sign of irritation at the stupid joke, which eventually pissed my classmate off pretty badly. They ended up challenging me to a bet, hoping to knock me down a peg. The bet itself was about as simple as they come. To land a shot on a can of tomatoes from 200 yards. It sounded pretty damn pointless, so I refused to play along at first. My classmate offered to take over a week's worth of laundry duty if I won. My perspective on the matter changed. After managing to bargain my way up to 3 shots, I ultimately accepted the bet, but there was one major problem: the rifle I had to use. At the time I didn't have authorization to use anything but the small bore and its 22 caliber rounds. So inevitably, the gun I was using for this bet was just a 22 LR bolt action rifle. Normally speaking, you want to be firing a small bore rifle at 25 to 50 meters. The bullet itself can travel at a good 1600. The effective range normally maxed out at less than 100. Not only was I using this thing for a shot from 200 yards or slightly over 182 meters, it was taking place outside where I'd have to deal with wind. Felt like pretty shitty odds, but on the second round I managed a solid hit. Naturally, that meant I was the winner of our bet, but unfortunately, one of our instructors found out I had taken the rifle without permission, so instead of a laundry-free week of leisure, I ended up ordered to scrub latrines until shit smelled like daisies. But apparently, the tomato can I shot is still enshrined in the school cafeteria, along with the photographic evidence. I'm not trying to get all nostalgic about my wild youth or whatever, but I can't help but smiling a little wryly. More at my inability to tell Makina a halfway decent bedtime story than anything else. And she's falling asleep to it anyway, man. When I finally snapped back to reality, I realized that Makina's closed her eyes and began mumbling in her sleep. The lengthy trip and waiting in the sun must have tired her out after all. Feeling more than a little relieved, I quietly leave the cabin with my cell phone in hand. Although there is a tower relatively close by, the signal's not particularly good inside the cabin itself. Walk off a little ways until the meter at the top of my screen displays 3 bars. I call up the contacts list and selects Komine Sachi's name. For about 3 rings, she picks up the phone and instantly, not even bothering to say hello, begins hurling questions at me.
Kazami-san desu ka? Ima, dochira ni orareru no desu? Sakihodo kara nando ka o denwa wo sasete itadaite ita no desu ga.
Sorry, the reception's not so great out here.
Kaeri ga osoi no de, minasan shinpai shite oraremasu. Nanji goro ni omodori ni nararemasu ka?
Right, about that. We're actually still in Yamanashi. Makina's already fallen asleep, so for tonight we're going to stay out here, then head back tomorrow around noon. Sorry for the trouble, but would you mind looking after Makina's crawfish and apple seedling while we're away? Sachi's imagining it! No, the signal's fine. I can hear you the first time. No need to repeat the question 20 decibels louder. Oh my god, Michiru, please stop giving fuel for Sachi's imagination. What? See, now look what you've done. That noisy blonde's in full squawk. Not a problem, I guess. What? Huh? Hey, Sachi, what was that sound?
すみません、風見さん。
Over here, Sachi's killing people. I see. Sorry for the hassle. That's right. We should be back tomorrow afternoon. So I doubt it'll be a problem, but I appreciate if you just keep an eye on them. I think it's heavily implied she did, King. Sachi just took something glass and shatterable and just knocked out Michiru with it. Thanks. Make sure to bring you some hoto and black honey rice cakes as a souvenir. What's up? Not to worry. Picked up a 24-pack of rubbers on the way over. It's a joke. Don't climb up on me. I'm telling you, it was a joke. I'm not going to do anything in the first place. Makina's already asleep, remember? You're really determined about this, aren't you? Oh my god, Sachi learned how to tell a joke in this route? Whoa, this is like, what kind of route is this? I'm going to hang up now. Night. What's going on with that girl? I feel like there's a lot more venom in her tongue lately. Her problem solving is definitely getting a little on the violent side. Amane and Michiru seem to think it's entirely my fault, but I don't remember giving Sachi any orders to act like this. In fact, I make every effort to give her only strictly appropriate instructions. But come to think of it, there was that one incident the other day. Sorry, Makina, another one of my stories, and paused to note the most efficient way to help a panicked officer cadet regain presence of mind in a foxhole. Sachi, who'd been listening and nodded with deep conviction, commented, I see. In other words, blunt weapons are the best medicine for derangement. Surely unrelated. Just another example of the female need to blame every problem on a man. Completely not my fault. Sort of unfounded generalizing is probably exactly the kind of thing that turns women against us. But it helps me regain the necessary composure to make my second call. Chose Amane's number and returned the phone to my ear. Complete unfamiliar woman's voice answered the phone. Who the hell are you supposed to be? Pull the phone away from my ear and double check the screen. I'm definitely connected to number Aksuo Amane. Oh, it's probably one of Amane's relatives. Yeah, it's me. Who the hell was that woman? What? Amane has friends in this route? What kind of idealistic bullshit is this? You people aren't dabbling hard in hard drugs, are you? Damn it, friends! Amane, my friend. Prescribe a dose of blunt weaponry to the head. On the other side of the line, I hear the sound of Amane opening a door and a chorus of shrill voices hooting at her. Yeah, that's right. Just had to hear that voice of yours, so I couldn't help giving you a call. Did I make a nuisance of myself? I see. Alright then, enough joking around. Let's get to the main topic. Here's the thing, Amane. Makina and I are currently in Yamanashi. That's right. Came up with the idea pretty suddenly after we saw you off this morning. Borrowed your Bobotaro for the trip. Yeah, you've been having trouble with the engine suddenly dying on you at random times, right? CDI is probably the issue.
CDI って言われても私にはわかんないけど。
What? You're riding a hot rod and you don't even know that much?
だって改造したの私じゃないもの。っていうか、あの状態でバイク屋さんから買ったのよ。
What kind of store would sell a ridiculous lowrider like that?
16の時に免許取って、なんかいいのないかなって近所のバイク屋さんに行ったら、ちょうどそのお店の店員さんが大型に乗り換えるって話でね、前に乗ってたやつを安く売ってくれるって言うから、何も考えないで買っちゃったのよね。でもまあ、原因が分かってよかったわ。なんか信号待ちしてる時とか、突然ストンと止まっちゃって、30分ぐらい冷まさないとエンジンがかかんないから困ってたのよ。
The wiring inside the CDI is probably swelling from the heat, disconnecting it temporarily.
なるほどね。修理したらいくらぐらいかかるのかな。
I'm not a motorcycle mechanic. I can't tell you that much.
いいわ。ボバ太郎は貸してあげるから、気をつけて乗るのよ。
Yeah, understood. Won't do anything stupid.
マキナはどうしてるの？ちゃんとご飯食べてる？
Well, let's see. For lunch, we had cinnamon rolls and pumpkin bread Makina baked. Dinner was ramen and fried rice.
ちょっと、全然野菜を食べてないじゃない。約束と違うじゃないのよ。
Sorry, I'll make sure to feed her something green tomorrow.
きっとよ。なんか不安だな。朝昼晩とちゃんと食べさせて、夜の8時以降は何も食べさせちゃダメよ。
It's like truly mom mode right here. What? Is she some kind of magical gremlin? Well, whatever. I'll be careful. If anything does come up, you'll be the first to know.
わかった。それじゃあ気をつけて帰るのよ。マキナに怪我させないでね。
Understood. Alright then, good night.
おやすみ。ちゃんと私の夢を見るのよ。
Spare me, I get enough lectures in my waking hours. For some reason my dreams are always nightmares. Alright then, that just leaves. Scroll down to JB's name on my phone contact list. Press the call button. I have to say though, I'm a man of many callers. Trip itinerary submitted to JB early didn't include any reference to staying the night away from my post. Of course, my employer is probably aware that I'm still in Yamanashi. You're very surprised if they hadn't been tracking the GPS on my other cell phone this entire time. Still, that doesn't mean I can get away with completely blowing off the formalities. If I do get in touch, it's easy to picture that shaggy-headed blonde griping and scolding at me again. If I take the initiative to call instead of making her do it, the voltage of her lightning bolts should decrease slightly. What? JB didn't answer? What's this? Burning the midnight oil over there? Kazama Yuuji and Irisu Makina, status normal. Current location is Asako's cabin in Yamanashi. Schedule return to post by 1200 hours tomorrow. End of message. After recording this extremely concise summary of the necessary information, I'm just on the verge of hanging up when I reflexively hesitate. For a moment's pause, I return the receiver to my mouth once more. Night, Julia. The hours being what it is, recording a little extra in the way of pleasantries shouldn't cause any issues. My message complete, I hang up and finally snap the phone shut. Ha. I slide the cell phone back into my pocket, sigh spills unprompted out of my mouth. In the isolated mountain night, the only sounds are the rustling trees in the wind and the chirping of insects reveling in summer. I don't mind not hearing people or their machines in the least. Bugs are fairly noisy in their own right. That said, it just makes you feel anxious when things get too quiet. Human beings are pretty hard to please. Hearing nothing but the sounds you make yourself is a genuinely terrifying thing. There was a time years ago when I woke up half buried under a pile of soil and sand. Better still, I couldn't remember how I'd come to be there. I must have stayed there for a good 3 minutes before finally recalling that a field artillery shell had landed nearby, pushed away violently by the man behind me, fallen roughly into my foxhole as dirt rained down. When I crawled up out of the hole, I noticed that my eardrums were malfunctioning badly. I couldn't hear a thing other than the high-pitched ringing sound. It was the middle of the night, so my field of vision was just as poor. Small slivers of moonlight trickling through the trees above were enough to make out weren't enough to make out any movement around me. The fear that had been swirling around my gut became a cold dread creeping slowly up my spine, that I might be the only person on Earth, as if I'd been left behind on a dead and empty husk of a world. Night can be very dark sometimes. When I'm facing it alone, I always remember that moment. Asako. Looking up into the sky, I hear her name slip out of my mouth. So how long am I planning to drag her memory around like a ball and chain? It's not like Asako wanted that herself. She told me flat out, didn't she? If I die, forget about me within a year. It's been a year and a half. Should have forgotten her completely by now. Promised I would. It's hard, Asako, being alone. Stop sniveling and grow up here. Someone to protect yourself now, don't you? I almost hear the words. Feel the slap upside the head. She's no longer here to deliver them. Aww. Aww. And just like that, arrives 30 minutes ahead of schedule. Oh, man. Oh, that was like kind of sobering. It's very interesting. Now we have the happy music going, so like, you know, this moment's completely ruined. But you know, that was very sobering. Like, it actually gave a very nice and concise view into things like loss and death, and you know, the breaking of plates over someone's head to knock them unconscious for some reason. You know, it still bounced around, but you know, it wasn't like a ha 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 laughing matter. It's kind of chuckles, but go back to serious mode. And it's very interesting because I don't know what I feel that some of Yuuji's loss with Asako I can relate to, because I've definitely had a person close to me pass away who I'd consider my superior in many aspects. So it's just very interesting. It makes me very nostalgic, I don't know, as well. But I think I'm gonna call it now. Call the live stream here. You know, I'm now in the mood. I'm probably just going to, like, you know, reminisce a little bit about stuff, and you know, take it easy for the rest of the night. And hope you guys too. You know, take a breather. You know, relax. You know, do your thing. Anyway, for now, this is animefanrk2k. Thank you very much for coming out for tonight's Monday Night Livestream. I'll see you guys, you know, something else. So for now, see you, good night, and thanks for watching.